now. Look at that. I can see it daylight in there.
Hell yeah.
But a bunch of stuff for the S14, and I just, like I bought it a while ago and just haven't done it. And what's crazy is like it's been down here, you know, where it's warm. I have every excuse to just come down here and start wrenching.
You got
and I just haven't, dude.
Yeah,
I just
enclosed, inside,
yeah,
heaters, everything. Yeah, everything's doing it outside. So
yeah,
I've not done shit.
Yeah,
it's been parked on the trailer since I guess stuff moves.
Yeah,
and it has not moved.
Yeah. And so we also, so you're talking about your Z, which we also just realized that you've had since 2016.
Yep.
July of 2016. So that's nuts. And then you picked it up and then went to Club Loose like the same weekend.
Yeah, it was Friday night, bought it, and then we brought it back, started getting it ready, and then 12 hours later we had it up at the track.
Yeah. Fucking Papa John's.
Yeah, there was not much prep. E-brake didn't work. Thankfully had an LSD that kind of worked. Wasn't very good. I ended up yeeting it off the track, and I think I bent a tie rod in the end of the day. But yeah, I mean, it did okay for just bone stock, and thankfully I got it through tech.
Yeah. Yeah.
we were a little worried that it wasn't going to pass. There was a small crack in the windshield, but
yeah,
I explained I bought it 12 hours ago. They're like, all right, just get it fixed next time. But,
yeah.
Now, where'd the Papa John's pizza thing come from?
So a friend of ours had got it somewhere. I think they found it on the side of the road. And I had at the one East Coast Bash, I guess it was East Coast Bash 2015 on my S13 Coupe. I just threw it on there for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
We put the Club Loose sticker on there too.
Yeah.
I ran it. So I figured just for shits and giggles, I'll throw it on the Z.
Yeah.
The new chassis. But.
Yeah. It is funny, and that's so since you've had it since 2016, like what have you had to do to it? Like starting with like maintenance. Like obviously you've done a lot to like make it better, but like maintenance wise, like
so since 2016 I've had to change the oil. I've had to replace one coil. I did them all because just preventatives.
Right.
And I busted the plastic like coolant T-fittings, or not T-fittings, but like there's
like
a bleeder nipple thing, like a piece of plastic broke on a coolant line. So other than that, I don't think there's been anything. I mean, there's been drift related shit that's broken, like because I ran off track or something like that, or bent shit. But in terms of like the actual mechanical, anything mechanical with the car, I think that's it. I think basically just a coil.
Dude, like that's
which
nuts.
is insane.
9 years, and it's a DE, right?
Yeah, it's a VQ35 DE.
That's great.
And it is insane. It's like to think about. I've had the same clutch that's been in the car since I got it. I have swapped the trans because when I got the trans, it had it was a CDO1, and CDO1s are trash.
Yeah.
When I bought it, it was grinding. I couldn't really use third gear, so it was a second gear car. And then just recently, I found a G35 shell that I picked up for the trans, and then sold the trans, made money on it. So ended up, basically getting paid to put a trans in the car. And that's been good. So I have third gear now.
Yeah.
Can go a lot faster.
A whole new window of opportunities have been opened.
Oh, 100%. But yeah, I mean, other than that, it's nothing really. I mean, everything else has been because I've wrecked the car or, bent shit. And
that's the crazy part, though. Like, 9 years is a long life for a drift car.
Yeah,
it certainly is.
Yeah, like I mean, just like wear and tear, like of the body,
and incidences going off the track, tapping a wall, hitting a wall really hard.
Yes. I did that.
It's and like like you said, like that kind of stuff. It just comes with it, But it's crazy to see that because a lot of people have like mixed feelings on like which engine is good, like the DE, the rev up, and the high. What's the other one?
High rev.
High rev, yeah.
So my understanding, I've only owned a DE, but DEs clearly are fantastic. Keep oil them; they're fine.
That's what I hear the most. Is like, and was like shocker. Like,
right?
If you keep oil.
You gotta put oil in your car that you're beating the fuck out of. Wow. But rev ups, I've heard have oil consumption issues, and other than that, I mean, I guess they work and probably the same thing if you keep oil in them. But those ones I have heard you have a little bit more issues with, and then high revs are great.
Yeah,
they make more power.
I might be getting my Nissan engines confused, but didn't one of them have like an issue with timing chain tensioners or something?
Might have been the rev up. I don't think it was the DE. Knock on wood. But as far as I know, rev up was the only. That was I think 04, 05, or 05, 06. It was in like that range. That came into Z's. That's the only one I've really heard of people having issues with. And you might be right. It might be a timing chain.
I might be getting confused with like a different Nissan engine, but
I don't know. I don't study too much up on it. I just know this shit fucking works.
Yeah, nuts, dude. And so, you said you've done nothing to this car for like this year. So no new modifications.
I mean, I have things in the works, but it's been so cold. I mean, there was like a month span there where it's either like 2 months where it's either raining or like it was like below 20 degrees, and it's just like I'm not trying to be working out there 20-degree weather with the wind blasting you know what I mean? If it was like not windy, maybe all right, we can bundle up, but it's just miserable.
And the Mustang takes the garage
still. It does take the garage, and the garage has a dirt floor anyway, so it's like you're only getting so much done on the dirt floor, and you lose bolts and shit. And it's not ideal. So you're better off on the blacktop working on shit.
I know, dude. After all like the blacktop and all the stuff that you did with that, I'm surprised that you didn't do something for the garage. It's kind of crazy, like the amount that you blacktop.
I know. It's on the list. I want to do concrete in the garage. It's just one of those things that's just on the list of things to do and just haven't got there. And there's other projects with the house that take priority.
And that's
money.
That's honestly like that's probably harder. That's one of probably the hardest things on your list because like you just like I'm trying to think like I know you have a lot of stuff. Everybody does. Like look around, you know what I mean? Like I can't imagine being like, okay, I'm gonna like redo the floor in here. Let's just take everything out. And then it's like, bro, thing. Like where the fuck are you gonna put it all?
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna have to. I don't know.
Storage unit.
Yeah, utilize another storage unit. And just,
I
don't know.
Yeah.
I'll cross that bridge when I get there.
Yeah.
I know I've been slacking on that one, and I need to actually get it done. But again, it's just one of those things that can fall to the back burner.
Yeah.
It's like it's not. It's a luxury more than a need. You know what I mean?
I don't know, but even like you're saying, like with it being so cold outside, not being able to get something done during like what's like the off season, which is like the best time to be able to like, kind of knock out
season.
Yeah, and like you kind of can't because of the garage. Because I mean, like for me, and again, it's because I'm so. It's just so good in here, like that. Like I'm like I couldn't imagine being in your shoes. So like you have to just like wait until it's bearable and then like rush to get it all done.
That or it's like like even when the weather's nice out, I'd wait till the week before, and then I'm like, oh shit, I got the event this weekend. Let me fix the car or do whatever I got to do to it, upgrade it, this and that.
So just like when we were kids.
Yeah,
dude.
Well, now I give myself a little bit more time, and I'm usually prepared like a day before, loaded up, ready to go. Not like midnight the night before, still loading up.
Yeah, like literally. Like, and that's what I was thinking about. I know that there was plenty of times where we're like loading up the cars, or the cars are already on the trailer, and someone else's car is like in Nick's garage, like or like you're in your mom's driveway, fucking taken apart.
Yeah,
crazy, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I got tired of that, so I at least do it like a week out.
Yeah,
and then I try to a couple days before, like at least like the Thursday before, load it up, ready to go, tires mounted, just that way, put gas in the truck and go. Yeah, you know what I mean. I don't have to worry about anything else. Now, it doesn't always happen, but yeah. Sometimes you work too much, or life gets in the way. And,
fuck yeah, it does, dude.
It's tough, but you find balance and make it work.
Yeah, dude. And speaking of making this thing work, so like as far as like modifications, because I love hearing this as well, and I know like other people who are listening, they want to know because a lot of people, obviously they will do the 350Zs, but like just getting that like what's done to it, You know,
So
what's your build?
Currently, where the car sits, not in this picture. This is an old picture.
Yeah, but it was better pictures.
I might not even have anything. I suck at posting. Okay, that's more recent.
Yeah.
So coilovers, they came on the car. I think they're J2 Engineering. I don't know, off-brand shit.
So let's just call it 10-year-old coilovers.
10-year-old coilovers.
Yeah, this is the winning formula right here.
Yeah, so everybody get your pens. Get your pens.
10-year-old coilovers that are kind of not well-known brand. I don't know. They might be.
They're well seasoned by now.
Very well seasoned. Welded diff. Hydro. With a dual, it's a dual caliper setup, not pass through.
Would you go with dual caliper setup? Who makes it?
Recently I went back because I was trying to figure out like everything that I had done to the car, trying to like in my email like organize like receipts and stuff.
Yeah.
That one I could not find. I don't know where. I tried to figure out what brand because people have asked me this question.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I just cannot find it. I don't GK Tech maybe. I don't know. They're bolt on. I know that much.
Yeah.
They're not the weld on kind.
Yeah.
And that was 9 years ago. To
Damn.
put it on. So it's just one of those things I don't remember.
Yeah.
Caliper wise, it's just stock Z calipers. Clutch is some kind of aftermarket clutch. Whatever was in there when I got the car, still in there, working great.
Yeah.
It's clearly
stage one.
Yeah, maybe. But motherfucker works. Clearly. What else? Aftermarket seat, steering wheel, quick release. Just got the car caged recently. I guess over a year ago, something like that. Not last October. Yeah, no, because we were on the whole season. I guess it was October of 2023. Got the car caged. Shout out John, Committed Service Brand.
Yeah,
did a phenomenal job.
Shout out.
What else is done in the car? Not really much else.
You haven't done anything to the engine to make it faster. More powerful.
No.
Yeah.
It's got more than enough power for what it is.
That's probably why it's fine.
I think it's got a cold air intake on it, and then I guess it does have like a kinetics intake manifold.
Yeah.
So an aftermarket intake manifold again came on the car.
Yeah.
Not something that I would have went out of my way to put on.
Yeah. So like no cooling upgrade. I mean, I think.
Oh, cooling upgrade. Yeah. That's a big one. Good.
Yeah.
So it's got an aftermarket radiator, got a CSF radiator. I have two 14-inch derail fans. They both they together pull 4,200 CFM, so a lot of air because that is one problem with the cars. They tend to overheat.
Yeah.
So you really got to get your cooling in check. So the derail fans and the radiator really helped with that. I do have like a little fan controller. I forget what brand it is, but instead of like, because they're such heavy duty fans, instead of like just having that amp draw kick in like at 100%, I think it kicks in at 60% first, and
it ramps up.
It ramps up at a certain temperature.
Yeah.
Just to kind of ease into it a little bit.
Yeah.
I know some people do PWM controllers with the fans. I couldn't find a good one online that had good reviews. There were so many, like the derail one, for whatever reason, like the fans are great, but I guess their PWM controller, people are like, it's either they work or they don't. So I was like, let me not spend all this money on it, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. So I got the...
and it sucks for something like that where you never know if someone just didn't put it in correctly.
Yeah, that's...
wiring stuff, we were like, oh, it's junk. It's like...
Right, and that's the thing. I'm not good with wiring, so I was like, well, they're fucking it up. I might fuck it up too. So let me just go with the one that everybody says works. The only down thing people were saying didn't work for is it's because they had it in the engine bay and got wet. So I have mine inside the car.
Okay.
So it can't get wet.
So is it adjustable, or is it just like a module that like a relay that just steps up the fan automatically?
It's adjustable. So you have
Yeah.
you have an adjustment on it. You can set like if you wanted to kick on it like 160, 170, like whatever you want.
Right.
It's,
That's cool.
But in terms of like it's set, it kicks on 60% and then 100%. So it's not like you can set it to 40.
Yeah, you're just controlling the temperature that it goes through those two stages.
Right.
Yeah.
That's more than enough.
Yeah, no, it works. I mean, you can even with that, the battery in the car. I think the event after I installed it, it was working fine. Everything checked out in the driveway. Go to take this thing off the trailer, and then like as I'm idling, getting ready to back off, the fans kick on and the car dies. I'm like, what? What's going on here?
Yeah.
So try to jump it, and just things aren't working. Figure out that the battery just like for whatever reason the
Just
fans
dead.
killed the battery. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
So, it is.
Yeah, and that makes sense. You have a battery; it's a little weak, but good alternator. It doesn't really take. Obviously, it takes. The most thing is starting the car is the biggest draw. So, like, yeah, that makes sense. So, would you just go to like an Optima battery, size up or something, or you just bought another stock battery?
Nah, I just got another AutoZone battery. Just
yeah. So yet again, nothing special.
No,
like,
nothing
not even
special at all.
close.
Now, I mean, I put the hood vents on it just to help with cooling.
Yeah, that's here.
But again, it's just nothing. There's nothing crazy with the car. It's very simple.
Yeah. How did the hood vents work out? You think that?
Oh,
I'm always curious because, like, I mean, I know like Newton had like tons of like cooling issues and stuff, and did he? I think he did cut his hood up. I think he ruined his hood.
Yeah, I think he did the self cut and
Yeah.
made his own vents in it.
Yeah, but I don't think it really helped him. But
it
wasn't to the extent of like actual louvers that are kind of shaped to help extract heat. Yeah,
right. So I did. I was doing some
looks
research and talking
sick.
to people. And after I put them in, I haven't had the car overheat as long as like everything's working. It did one time because something happened with, I think the fan controller it got hot in the car. Because that floorboard, you've ridden the car. It gets hot. I mean, I got the heel plates in there now, but which certainly helps. And I put in insulation to kind of help dissipate the heat. But because the fan controller sits right on top of like where your feet sit, so I think it just got hot and it burned up one of the wires. But that's the only time I had an issue with cooling since I put the
when there
vents
was a
on.
failure of
Right,
part.
and then that was just cutting that burnt part of the wire out, reconnecting it, and everything's been good since. So again, I think it just got too hot in there.
Yeah, it is amazing how hot the fucking trans tunnels get and just the inside of those cars. And like having carpet helps, and you don't have carpet, but I mean, still, like I remember even then, like you can feel it through your pants and like through your sneaker. You can feel like the side of your foot getting hot, like on the trans tunnel, like waiting on grid. Like oh god, like. And like wrapping the exhaust doesn't help. Like nothing helps. Like nothing. You're just gonna be hot.
The only thing I found so far is the heel plates that are spaced off the ground, and then I modified them too. Like I said, with like that kind of insulation.
Right. A fiberboard.
Not fiberboard. I forget what it is, but it's like that kind of like foam. It's
okay, like a styrofoam kind of.
Not styrofoam. Not foam. That's not how to put it. I don't know. It's like almost like a sheet, but it's like in a roll.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Like a duck wrap?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Like a duck wrap.
Yeah.
I put that on there. I glued it on there, and
nice. Yeah. So is there still like an air gap there too?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's nice. Like being able to like have like the insulation. That's a good idea. Like insulation just glued to the metal, so that way like that metal can't transfer any heat as much into the cab, but then also like those heel plates have like an air barrier like kind of around it to kind of help dissipate that heat.
So there's a few different options for my car. I found a company, it's a Rise Fab Shop. They make a heel plate that's actually it's built-in air gap, so it's raised up like an inch or two. All the other ones kind of just ride the floor, and like you might have some air gaps because the Z's all wonky.
Yeah,
but no, they specifically designed it for that reason. Get your feet up higher, closer to the pedals for better foot position, which actually made a night and day difference.
Yeah.
It's so much more comfortable.
and
then you had that added air gap, so for heat protection from the trans.
Yeah, did the carpet like help make that floor not so crazy, right? Because I
So-
noticed that as well. Like no carpet in the bottom of the floor. Like the floor is nuts.
Yeah, so you have the carpet, it eats it up, and you got like a sound deadening, and then you also have like there's a big fucking Grand
Yeah.
Canyon like thing that they put a big foam piece in there,
Yeah.
and it's on both sides. It's kind of up next to the on the left side and the right side on the passenger. But yeah, I don't know why it's designed like that. It's goofy as shit.
Yeah. I mean, I have the feeling it was probably insulation that was like keeping the heat out.
Yeah, I mean,
Not gonna lie.
I'll be honest. Yeah, because I would hot lap the car before, I stripped the interior, and I didn't get my feet. It worked pretty well. Like my feet
Yeah.
didn't get very hot. At least nothing I noticed. Like with the bare metal, I mean, you just
Yeah.
immediately. There's times where I'm like, you get on grid and you're like, fuck, I'm so goddamn hot. I might need to get off track. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And it was like melting your shoe.
Yeah, it was
at
melting my
times.
shoes really bad. It's just
Yeah, I'm
not
a big
ideal.
fan of keeping the carpet in. Even like I know like when I was drifting, Nick pulled out like immediately just pulled out all of his interior, and then I remember like distinctly being like, this car is so much shittier now. Like it didn't like it was like, and so because I almost did it to my S13 before, and the S14, I had like a chances to do that, and I was like, I think I'm keeping it in. And so I've never had to experience that without carpet, but like, yeah, I feel like carpet's the move.
Yeah, honestly, like going forward, like do another build, probably keep carpet in
Keep
it.
the carpet in. It's nice, man. And like
It
it
is
makes it like
nice.
feel like a car. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
And it's like you really don't save that much weight.
No.
It's like you don't
No.
really need to
It's
go
n-
full race car.
It's not gonna be. Yeah, exactly. It's not actually gonna make a difference that you can tell.
Right.
You know? Like,
There's going to be
Pull-
someone who's insisting that they can feel the difference.
yeah, I don't know about carpet though. Like if
No,
you pulled out like back seats and like the if you're changing out like the power seat that like I'm sure the Z had, like
Yeah.
how heavy were those stock seats, dude?
Very heavy.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
like 80 pounds.
Yeah, so like that right there, like you're just like with two seats gone, you pull out like a whole person.
Right.
Like it's crazy. Yeah, it's like that, but then like the carpet weighs like 20, 30 pounds.
I doubt
I
it.
mean, yeah, maybe if it's soaking wet.
Yeah, it's not much. It's
Yeah.
honestly worth keeping it, especially on like the Z's such a small car, so there's only so much carpet.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe on a sedan or something, you might, run
Yeah,
in
it's
the
the
morning.
equivalent of a floor mat.
Right? Yeah,
Bro.
basically, it's
Yeah.
an oversized. Yeah, it's basically that.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah, and then so roll cage, and then that was the vents in the hood, and then that's it, and then like
over fenders in the rear. From
Oh, yeah.
damage.
yeah, which I mean, and yeah, and you picked it up with that quarter smashed, right?
Yeah, it wasn't as bad. I made it worse.
Yeah, so you added to it, eh?
But
Yeah,
it was. I
'cause,
mean, you can
bro,
see
those over fenders look so much better now.
Oh,
Like,
100%.
that looks so good.
because there's a few different styles. There's the ones that are kind of just like the wheel arches, and I was like, I don't want that. It looks
Yeah.
like shit. I need to cover all the damage.
Everything. Yeah.
So, Crown Carbon Crafting. They used to be called something else. No, they're I don't know. They changed it. It might be Crown Carbon now, or that might have been what they were before.
Yeah.
Oh, Hyperhive is what they are now. They
Mm.
were Crown Carbon Crafting. Now they're Hyperhive. They make those, and they're pretty much the only company that I know of that makes that full style that covers the entire, the entire quarter panel, which is like great for drifting because it's like I fucked it up, but now I can just cover it. It looks
Yeah.
good again,
Yeah.
or at least from 10 feet. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you get up close, it still looks like shit. It's
Well,
it's a
I
hammer
mean,
drift car, but
yeah, it's kind of how it always is,
right.
But yeah, it's like it
It's
is
a
beautiful.
Hyperhive. No.
That is the beautiful.
This is
Is this Hyperhive? Okay.
it's supposed to be. This website kind of looks like it's either broken or was
Yeah.
made in 2004.
I don't remember it looking like this.
Yeah, they expensive as hell.
Yeah, they're not that cheap. Also, there's some of those are like the carbon ones.
Yeah, it's definitely carbon.
Which I did
Yeah, that
not.
looks
I
like
got
a
the
better website.
fiberglass
I don't know
ones.
what the hell was wrong with it before.
Okay, yeah, that's it.
We are running an ad blocker, maybe that.
Yeah, so they have a couple different sizes. I got the I guess 15 mil over. The smallest one they offer, I think it was 15.
Yeah, $500 isn't bad though. That's pretty good. $500.
Yeah, $500 for the pair, and then shipping's a little expensive, but
yeah, that sucks.
I got them on what was it, Black Friday, so there's a little bit of a discount.
Yeah.
But by the time of shipping, it's still around $500. So.
Yeah. Like shipping was $500.
No. I'm saying with shipping, it still ended up being about $500.
Yeah, I gotcha. So. Okay. I was like, damn, $500.
No, $500.
Damn.
I'll find something else. I'll make my own.
Yeah, dude. Just make it out of wood. Just
For real. Or just get. You remember those videos?
Bro, I know what you're gonna say.
The ramen noodles.
Dude. Yeah, just breaking ramen noodles over like a wood mold. Yeah, that trend was crazy. They just kept filling holes and fixing shit with ramen noodles. Bro, the one where they did fix like the rust over a truck bed, like in like the cab, the bedside. Bro, I was like, I told Julian Newton. I was like, bro, we could do that to your truck. That's when he still had the F-250,
right.
and he was like, no. I was like, come on, man, like give it a shot. And I think he like tried to body filler it, and I was like, cock. But
should have just did it anyways.
I know, just do it for him. Yeah. Yeah, dude. So, and then also, what's the status of you picked up an engine?
Yeah. So I picked up basically a baby LS3 truck motor. It's a LY6. So it's got the 823 heads on it. This is the rec port heads. I think the only difference is like, I think, don't quote me 100%. But I think it might be like the valves are lighter on like the actual LS3 head, the 821. So it's like whatever. So I think the port sizes and shit are the same. But yeah, so I got that.
What is like the model truck like year it comes in?
So that came out of a 2008 Express van.
Okay.
Is this a 5.3?
6.0.
Oh, 6.0.
Yeah. So LY6, it's a 6.0. So not quite a 6.2, but that's what I call a little baby LS3.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's pretty much everything else there. And the reason I like the LY6 is because it doesn't have AFM, doesn't have DOD. The only thing it has is the VVT, which you're going to delete anyways because you're going to put a haul gas cam in it.
Yeah.
So that, in my opinion, was one of the better motors to go for. Because I was for a while I was looking at different shit, but that was kind of I wanted a Gen 4. That's a Gen 4.
Yeah, because an actual LS3, I mean, it's a good investment, but like, what is it still like today? Like $8,000, $10,000? Is it more?
Are we talking new? Yeah, like you're probably looking like 8 to 12, depending where you get it.
It's a good investment, but like,
do you need it? Not really. Like, do you want to say? I mean, get the aluminum block, cool, whatever. Save the 100 pounds. I'm over it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I paid what, $1,000 for the motor.
Yeah,
and I got a trans with it that I could sell probably for L80.
Yeah,
that'll sell.
Yeah,
$700-800 maybe.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and see that's a good perspective too, because I think that's one of the keys to drifting or just doing like any kind of like fun motorsport that's expensive. But drifting for sure. Not just buying an engine, but like, because you had mentioned for the transmission that you got for the Z, you didn't just go out and buy a CD09. You went out and bought a G35 that had a CD09 in it. Right. And then you scrapped whatever you did with the car, and then that paid for the transmission. It was free.
Right.
And like, that's the key is you can't just like dump money into it. Like you have to be creative. And that's like one of the biggest things I mean, hear it all the time.
You can dump money into it.
You can if you got it.
Like for sure. I mean, obviously people will take your money, right. But like, it's not something that like it's not sustainable, So like, I feel like that's something that, like, I'm kind of trying to get into that. Because I'm not that guy. I'm not the guy like who like can look at something and be like, oh, like I see I see the potential in this. I see like I see the dollars. You
Right.
know? I'm just like, that's a fucking piece of shit. Like, where's the transmission at? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of more that guy. And especially now that I'm dipping my toe back into drifting, I feel like I have to wear that hat. You know?
Right.
So I feel like you've always been that. So I'd love to just kind of hear your perspective and like just the, you know, I guess, what's the right procedure of like trying to like justify parts?
So I don't know. I feel like that's the only way I've been able to make this thing sustainable and stay in it since I've got in it. I mean, there was a little, 4-year gap that I took off and wasn't actively drifting. I still had the car and everything, but life got in the way.
Yeah.
But to be able to like actually do it, it's like, I got to buy a transmission. I didn't just go out and buy one because it was, people wanted like $1,000. Like, it's not the end of the world, but it's like still $1,000. Like,
right.
So I'm like, all right, well, how can I do this smart? How can I potentially make money with it? Well, John ended up, he called me one day. He said that the guy next door, the shop next door, they had this G35 they were looking to get rid of, stupid cheap. So I was like, oh, let me take a look. And he had said there's a CD09, and then I checked out the year, everything checked out. It was CD09, so I was like, all right, whatever. I guess got to drive like 30 minutes away, pick this thing up.
30 minutes? That's nothing, dude. That's crazy.
So
like 3 hours, but like it's worth the trip. Like that would be worth 3 hours.
Still I would have did it for 3 hours, but 30 minutes away, like hell yeah, absolutely. So I think I got the car for like $600-700. They just needed it out of the shop. Like the motor was blown up. I think the kid that brought it to the shop was just like over it and sold it to them for like, probably a couple $100, or maybe just gave it to them. I don't know, but had the title. I was like, all right, whatever. $600. Hauled it out of there, pulled the trans. Ended up selling it. I don't know, fucking $1,200-1,300. Just quick, just get it out of my hair.
Yeah.
After I pulled the trans and and then put.
So you were able to sell a G35 with with a blown up engine and no transmission for $1,300.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude, I'm good at this. So there was
great. I actually. Funny story before you get into that. You actually sold my truck for me. Like I was there, but like pretty much like it was almost like as if I was like selling my truck with my dad. And it was like, well, talk to my dad, like kind of thing. And I gave you some sort of percentage of whatever he sold it, because I was like, bro, like some crazy like Russian dudes are coming from New York. Like I think they're gonna lowball me. I was like, I need some backup. Because it's hard. Because like Adrian and I talk about this, where like, if you want to sell something, or especially when you want to buy something, like if you want it really bad, like you'll pay whatever. Like you have to be sensible, you know? Like, and Adrian's very bad at this, because like as soon as he like finds something, he's just like,
I need that.
He won't even negotiate. He's just like, I'm just going to buy. Like it's because you want it that bad.
I'll come with you. I will come with you. I like doing this. I love negotiating.
I don't think I've gotten off too bad despite that.
Yeah, no, I'm exaggerating, but yeah,
that Buick was $2,500 with like no rust and straight. I got myself that Volvo 240 for $600.
The point is that.
But no,
like,
I'm really bad at
that. Julian would have gotten the Buick for like $1,100, and then the whatever that Beetle would have been, fucking.
The Beetle I definitely got like fucked on.
Yeah, Beetle would have been $2,000. Like that's just like what Julian does. I know you were telling me a story before of like. Either I called you or something, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm just like down the road. I'm waiting out this guy. I'm like, what? And you're like, yeah, like we lowballed him. He said no, like he's gonna call me back. And like you're just waiting down the road for him to call you back because you don't want to get too far. Like, bro, you're crazy. Like you will cancel your whole schedule.
He called me back. I think that was for the car trailer, my first one that I got. Yeah, he ended up calling me back. Got that thing for $600 maybe.
Yeah, so you're like, that's fucking nuts.
Dude, the thing was a piece of shit. I'm not overpaying for it. But, no, but that's my thing. Like, I like negotiating. And then, like, for your truck, I'm glad you brought me along, because, like, they would have... I knew as soon as they pulled up, they were going to try to lowball you. So I just stuck with it. I was
those
like,
dudes were shiesty.
You kind of shot yourself in the foot a little bit when you took him on the test drive. I remember he came back. He's like, well, in the truck, he said he'd take this much. I'm like... Yeah, I guess you're gonna have to give it for that much.
I forget what it was. Yeah, I did say something that was fucked up. Because that's the other problem too. Is that like like you got to like know what to say and like how to say. Because I forget. I don't think it was like we didn't say. I don't think we said a price.
It's something. He mentioned something you guys because on a test drive.
Yeah,
he said something.
I said something
like,
that fucked us. Yeah, I do remember that though. I definitely fucked.
It wasn't bad. It was only a little bit, but I was because like you're not driving 4.5 hours, not bringing very close to, if not the full asking amount. If you didn't ask before, you're not doing that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So. I'm gonna get you as much as I possibly can. Yes. You're my boy. I'm gonna get you. I don't know these guys. Whatever. It's not my problem. You just read this much. You need the truck. You brought the money. Right. You're gonna pay. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But, no. And then just even for buying shit, dude. It's just,
I know. And you love it.
I love it, dude. I love negotiating. It's fun. And I just like when people say they're firm, they're not firm.
Yeah.
They are not firm.
Yeah.
I can promise you that.
You listed it for a reason.
You listed it for a reason.
You're in a bad spot.
Every time somebody said they're firm, I got them under, at least a little bit under. I was just like, and I'm not super like over pressure. I just keep talking to them and they finally, they talk themselves out of it.
Yeah. What do you want for this $1,000 car?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nuts, man. Yeah.
But
because it takes a certain soul. It takes a certain like you gotta have something in you to be able to really negotiate that way.
Well, you sometimes you just gotta make it a little uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Just don't say nothing, and then people just don't like.
Yeah, they don't like the quiet.
That. They don't like the quiet, and then they just like, all right, fine. Yeah, it's like okay, we can. I can sit here all day and look at you. It's gonna save me a couple bucks. Why not, right?
Yeah. Pull out a lunchbox and like a chair. I'm literally camp out.
There's an art to it, definitely. It's it's something I've learned over the years. You know, bought and sold a lot of shit, but
I definitely have to. I'm gonna have to obtain some of that because I feel like that's because to how we got started on this because everything is so expensive. So like if you're not like making like it work for you like somehow, you know, or like being able to like make money off of doing this. I hear that a lot of people talk about even just like using like the ability to flip parts as like the drift fund. Like I just find things, I negotiate for things, and then I resell it. You know, because like if it's car parts or whatever, the thing that you know, like it's whatever the hustle is to like just create cash to make it be like, okay, well now this cash is I didn't have it before, so like now it just goes into the car kind of thing. You know.
No, I mean that's another thing I try to do, whether it's like wheels or parts or just anything. You know what I mean? If you could flip it, make a couple bucks. Like I got a set of there's like Chevy 5-star 2500 wheels. They're pretty basic, but Starfish style. Yeah. So those are real sought after. I got a set like really cheap, so I'm probably gonna sell. Originally, I bought them. I was gonna put them on the truck, but now I'm like, well, I got this motor. I want to get it in the vet. I'm just like, because that motor's going in the vet. It's not going to Zig. But
dude, spoiler alert: those wheels don't fit on your truck.
I know. I need an adapter.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah,
they do. There's a company that makes.
I did the same thing. I got a set like stupid cheap. I think like $250.
Right.
And they had tires on them, but they were like just bald tires.
Right.
And so I was just like trying to fit them on to. I had the same Silverado as you, the black one I used to have.
Right.
I was so excited to go to put them on. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then I did a quick Google and I was like,
it's 8x180, not 8x6.5.
Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck? And then the adapters for it was like more than I spent on the wheels, and I was like, I'm not doing. I resold them for like $600.
That's like I saw the wheels, I bought them. I was like, all right, I know they make adapters, and I looked at them like, do I really want to? It's the same situation. It's about what I spent on the wheels.
Yeah.
But like, go online. I mean, people have them out for $700, $800, $1,000. You know what I mean? Like, cheaper on a low end 700, but so you know, sell that, use that money for. Parts for the motor and shit, or parts for the car. It's just, it's just whichever which way you can. Because if you rely on just like, your main job, unless you're making buku bucks,
then good for you.
Good for you. I'm happy for you.
All right,
but
now how can I do
most
that
of us in the real world are,
how can I do that for this Model A I'm putting together?
Sell old parts. I mean, well, I guess, I mean, you could, or Marketplace. I don't know how many people are going on like Marketplace for Model A shit, but
apparently, I mean, there's like a big gathering of a big following for those cars. I mean, have you heard of Trog?
Yeah.
I want to go. That's crazy, dude.
That's what we're building it for.
Okay. Yeah. So there's this whole community where all that's going on. We're I didn't even know. I only found about Trog last year.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know it existed. And then now there's this whole other side of car culture where people are dumping thousands of dollars into. There's a whole industry behind it. I
can spend $1,600 and make 60 horsepower.
Right.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah. You can buy bottom ends for these engines. It's crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's just even if it's not Model 8 parts, just find parts cheap that are selling for more. And then just buy them.
Yeah, that's the takeaway. Is if this is something that you really want to do, which it's kind of been my realization lately, because I do really want to get back into drifting, and now I'm kind of out of excuses except for money. Now it's so I think it's if it's something that you really want to do, then you just have to find that other way of kind of generating some cash to justify it, because we literally are burning money on the track every time. So
all right, so Keith, your turn to do it.
Do what?
Buy a V8 and sell the 4L80.
I mean, yeah, it's not bad. I mean, would you pick yours up where you said 7?
I got so that's a Gen 3. That whole package would be had cheaper than that.
That's what you're here for.
Yes, exactly. So either gonna lowball him or find a different one.
Yeah,
because it's not in grand scheme of things, it's not a bad price, but you can definitely have one cheaper.
Yeah, and so to get back to actually that, which is thank you for that good transition. So you bought that engine for something.
Yes.
Are you ready to talk about it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I don't know. I want to know if it was if you had decided what you wanted to do with it yet.
I'm still, I'm still kind of in limbo whether or not it's going to end up a track car. I feel like it's going to end up that way, but so it's a 06 Vet, C6 Vet. It's I got it as a roller. I actually traded my boat for it that had been sitting broken for 2 years, and I was just well, you know what? It's not that boat. That's John Newton's old boat.
Yeah.
I actually don't have any pictures of the boat on here.
Pictures of the Vet on here?
No. I suck at posting. Especially shit that, I don't know. I mean, at the boat we actually had out, but I just never got around it. I guess I was having too much fun with it. To get on social media.
And that was sick, too. That was a supercharged.
Yeah, supercharged 454 speedboat. It's pretty stupid.
Dude, ridiculous.
After owning it, it's cool. You always see those boats on the water and hearing open header just chop, chop, chop. After owning it, I'm cool with a center console with an outboard. Just, simple, easy, quiet. Just get on the water and go and not, put fucking retarded amount of gas in
fuel.
It. It's just, I'm not. Yeah, every time you took it out, you get half an afternoon. It was $200-$300 in fuel. It was,
damn.
So it's not a boat you could even take out every weekend. I mean, you could, but it's that's a lot of money just to be, take something out on the water and not even go far. Yeah.
And I always thought it was crazy. Even when Newton had a boat, when we were oh, dude, so young. I was how are we doing drifting and you got a boat? What the fuck, man?
Right.
And none of us were giving him gas money. Dude, we fucked him.
But to get back onto
the vet.
Going off on a tangent on the boat. I ended up found this guy on I'd been wanting a vet. For a while I wanted a C6, even a C5. I was just in the mood for a vet. And I was I got this stupid boat. It's been broken. I don't feel like fixing it. I kept telling myself I was going to fix it and then just never got around to it. And I decided last spring, I was all right, if I don't fix it within the next couple of weeks, something's going to have to, it's got to go.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. So, perusing Marketplace, just kept hitting guys up with C5s because I thought that was more of a fair trade. I didn't think I was going to get a C6 for it.
Yeah.
I was hitting up anything, automatics, whatever. I just wanted to get in a vet, right? Guys kept saying no, blah, blah, blah. And I saw that roller pop up. I was man, all right, let me reach out. It was a little, it was priced a little higher than I thought, with the boat where it was currently sitting at, what it was worth. But shoot your shot, right? Yeah. Hit him up. because he had said in the description, he's like, trade for boats. I was like, all right, well,
yeah.
Hit him up, was fully transparent with him, told him everything wrong with it. He was like, yeah, I like it. I think I want to make the trade. He told me everything with the car. The car had everything minus not a transmission. Had the transmission. Everything minus a motor. So it was a roller. It had it was like a twin turbo car, like drag setup, like it was like all done up. So it's got some goodies on it. But no motor. But I was like, whatever. I mean, I've taken motors out of shit, put it back in. I ain't that worried about it. Like before, I might have been a little bit intimidated looking at like the rat's nets of just everything, wires and just parts and just lines. But now it's just like everything has a place. It's not.
Yeah.
I'm not a mechanic, but I can figure it the fuck out.
Yeah.
There's YouTube University if I can. And if not, I can call one of my dumbass friends out to come help me. I'm sure we can figure it out. But so he ended up coming down and brought the car down on a U-Haul and dropped it off, took the boat, and
nice.
That was that. So that was, then I started looking for motors, and at first I thought, so I have a LQ4, which is a Gen 3 6-liter. I thought I was going to use that, but come to find out, from Gen 3 to Gen 4, they changed a few different things. There's the crank has like a 58 tooth reluctor wheel. The cam, it has something different with like the cam. And then what's the other thing? And then the knock sensors, instead of being like under the intake manifold, they're on the outside of the block on the Gen 4s. So I mean, you could just run extension wires or whatever. But there was like more involved to swat, to make the Gen 3 work in the Gen 4 car. So I was like, all right, well, let me just find something I'll basically just drop in. And I found a better motor anyways,
Yeah.
So it'll make more power. It's got the better heads on it. Because I was going to swap the heads and do this. Now I don't have to swap the heads.
Yeah.
Just got to find a car intake manifold for it.
Yeah.
Not that I couldn't use a truck one. I could just drop in.
Is it too tall? It's not
too
tall?
The truck ones are just a bit taller. It's not. I mean,
it would still fit though.
Is that like the block height, or is that
intake
just
manifold
the manifold?
Just the intake manifold. Yeah. So the car ones, the runners, they're like real tight. Like what the LS ones look like, but the truck ones are they got like this much more on top. So I don't think it'll fit under the vet hood. I mean, you could cut a hole. Or I guess maybe space it up. But
you're so much better off with just. Yeah, I mean, instead of the price of cutting a perfectly good hood versus like buying an intake manifold, probably worth.
That hood isn't quite perfect because there is 2 big holes for where the turbo exhaust was.
Well, that just means that you have expectations to fill.
I do have the cold side for the twin turbo kit. On so. That's something I thought about, but I want to get the car running first before I do anything stupid like that. And because that's just more money to piss away. And
which we're pretty good at that. Yeah, no doubt that you could definitely figure that out. Mm-hmm. But what is so what's the decision? Because like, are you like trying to decide whether or not like you want to drift it or not?
So I think my game plan with it is I'm gonna get it running, drive it on the road, because I don't want just a second track car. It's like I want something I can drive on the street, right? Mm-hmm. So get it running, tagged, drive it, enjoy it, and then decide, okay, do I want to start putting the drift parts on it and then take it to the track? Because I could drift it, but like to like really get it to like where I'm at, make it an A group car. I got to cage it. I got to do a little bit more to it than just slap a e-brake on it and one of the bolt-on angle kits.
Again, that's all time and money.
Yeah, exactly. So that's something. If it does become a drift car, which may end up happening, there's that side of me that's very itching to do that. It's still going to take some time. So I mean, the first step is get it on the road, drive it. Enjoy it, and then go from there. Because even if I did, want to jump the step drift, that's the first step. So
and everything is everything's good with the 350Z, but I mean, dude, the potential of the Corvettes. I mean, just hearing from, I mean, like, Phil loves the Corvette, and just so many people talking about how great Corvettes are with drifting. I mean, obviously, they're great all around, but, dude, that would be too sick.
It is such like a perfect car for it. Everybody that has one just says they're like cheater cars. It's just, it just work. Like, you don't even have to, you basically just need to do e-brake, and then the stock angle sucks on them.
Right.
So you do need to do some kind of angle mod. I mean, they make like little bolt-on kits.
Yeah.
But other than that, that's all you need. Like the diff, you don't have to do anything with the diff. It's got good lockup from the factory.
Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Yeah, I was surprised too. But Phil said I believe he said he didn't do anything to it. And you look into like the, Facebook page and shit. They don't really
just send them.
Yeah, they just send them. It's like,
that's crazy.
Kind of, I don't know what's going. I haven't done enough research to like know like what's kind of diff setup they have, but I should probably know now that I have one. But but yeah, no, they just work.
Damn.
And they're just so good. They're set up like they're so balanced and just
and
then the power is just
But yeah, like you said though too, because I do kind of get where you're coming from, where it's like if you were to bring that car to like being track ready, it is so much work,
right?
And it's like, like we were just talking about like making like drifting, like keeping it fun, like not getting like too into the weeds, but you are in like a perfect spot where like you could slowly start bringing that car like towards being ready to drift,
right?
Because you have the perfect seat time car,
right? Exactly.
So like if you just left that thing like that forever, like where no matter what, like the Vet was like the drift car, and then like the backup car was a 350Z,
right?
But that would be sick.
Yeah.
And how hard would that LQ4 go into the Z?
Z?
Because like that almost seems like a perfect like where it's like you could have
sounds
two
like you're
V8
trying
cars.
to get two projects going at once.
So.
Well, you get you get the Corvette to that point, and then once the Corvette's good, it's like okay, cool, but LQ4 and the Z, and like now you have like the baby Corvette and like the actual Corvette. You kind of have like a similar seat time car to kind of keep you acclimated.
Thought has crossed my mind. Z LS swapping a Z is very easy. I mean, you can go on Njuku and buy all the shit for it. It's just they make
a known quantity.
Yeah. But like the LQ4 specifically,
the LQ4. I mean, that's. Is you get the wiring harness and then the mounts and then bolt it right up to the CD09 trans.
Yeah,
it's pretty much all you need. I mean, there's like a lot of like all the little bullshit with a swap. Like everybody says, oh, it's super easy, but then it's like this, that. And there's just always like the little nitpicky things you don't think about. Yeah. Like whether it's I don't know fucking relocation kits and stuff like that. Like it's all the little things that add up, and there's what ends up taking the time and the extra money. And it's like on paper should be cheap, but then like, oh wow, there's another grand or two, and just all the little things I didn't think about, like little
the good old might as well since I'm in there.
Yeah, and then that too,
and
the might as well.
Then the car has been sitting for 2 years, and you're like, dude, I might sell it. Like that's scary.
Happens all the time.
Yeah.
Versus like it works.
Yeah.
Like, it's a little underpowered for, like, driving with some of these guys, and A-groups. They're fucking rippers, dude. It's hard keeping up sometimes, but...
especially at Club Lewis, like the XDC.
Oh, my God. I don't lead on XDC just because the car is slow. I don't want to screw anybody's lap up. I'm trying, like... By the time we get to, like, the wall, they got, like, bus lengths on me. I'm like, man.
Yeah.
Now, you can do things like... Everybody keeps telling me that changing the gear ratio, because I still have stock gearing in the car. I think like a 408, 409 is like the money gear for, at least for E-Town. Thought about doing that, but like I looked into it, like I'm coming from a Mustang, the gear sets are like $200-300.
Yeah.
On a Z, it's like $800.
Damn.
This is like $800 for gears. Like, why are they so expensive for this car? And like other cars are so cheap. It's just... So why? It's stupid.
I bet you like a 1.5 way is probably like $1,200.
Right. And it's like, at that point, might as well just get the 1.5 or the I don't know how much your 2 ways, but I've heard the 2 ways are pretty. It makes a difference.
That's something that like I still, I don't see like which one. I don't see how like which one's better than the other. I think like the 1.5 way is the one that like makes the most sense to me because a 2-way essentially would act a lot more like a welded diff, whereas in like the 1.5 way on like decel, like under gas and not like the characteristics of the 1.5 way seem to be more kind of tailored towards like good for drifting. Okay. Like because I forget. I can't remember off the top of my head like the exact.
At one point, I know. Like
I know. I fucking hate that I forgot.
Yeah, because I've heard somebody explain it before, like on a podcast or something. But I just
because like it's something about like the pushing force of the welded diff, like in drift, you're always like it's always trying to push you this way, whereas in like in the decel, the 1.5 way will release, and so like then you
so it doesn't like
kind of
push
stop
you
scrubbing,
right,
and you end up with more traction.
Yeah, I have heard that.
Yeah,
again, the welded where it's just
so yeah, I would agree with you, man. I'd say like it's certainly a risky move, and it's always a snowball effect, so like getting that Corvette onto the track is probably not in your best interest, but it is sick, and it's fun to know that you could.
Right. No, absolutely.
It's better than not having a Corvette, so whatever. But what's on the list for the 350Z?
What is on the list? I just ordered a chassis mount shifter for it.
Okay.
Because, as you know, we almost money shifted on XTC, trying to catch third. Just those stock shifters on that train just kind of suck. So I'm hoping with the chassis mount, you can lock out 4th and 5th gear. So now I can just slam it all the way to the wall to get it in the third. So when we're running XTC or whatever, I don't have to really think about it.
Right.
So it's just a boom, boom, corner to corner for second, third. Shouldn't have,
have to worry I didn't know that. Who makes that?
There's a few different companies. The one I ordered was Jack Spania Racing.
Okay.
They were like half the cost of like the other companies, and the product looks the same. And I did some research on their company. It seems like their products are pretty decent.
Okay.
I mean, there's not too much on that shifter, like guys out there running it. But, it was. I think it's worth trying at least. You know, see if
short shifters are like one of those like just shifters in general. Like it's one of those things where it kind of like there's no like one good one. No one's like, oh yeah, always go. It's just like there's so many
MGW for Mustangs at least.
Okay,
there is for Mustangs.
Yeah,
but no, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, there's like just so many that like I think maybe people just deal with them. I feel like that's most of it. Like where they're like just like the no-name China ones are like on your transmission. You're like, I don't know, came with the car.
Right.
Like it's always that. Like no one's like out there. This is like on our crew. Like nobody gave a fuck.
See, with the Mustang, I did. It's just like because I went from a stock and I everybody talked about an MGW. I was like, all right, let me try it. And I bought it and I was like, whoa, this is nice. And like you just always got the shifts, never had any issues.
Yeah.
And then when I T56 swapped it, it came with like I think it was a Hirsch shifter. I fucking hated that shifter, dude. I would always miss third gear. Just like I never had any issues. So I ended up getting an MGW, and it's good now. But
how much modification did the T56 have to do? They like line up the trans tunnel pretty well.
They bolt right in.
No, nice.
Yeah, so they bolt right in. The splines are a little different. You got the drive shaft, I think, is different. But
okay.
Because I bought, so when I bought the T56, it was like everything needed to put it in the car. So
nice.
I think it was flywheel, right?
Yeah.
Because the flywheel's spline.
Yeah, no, not the flywheel. It would be clutch.
No,
I
had to buy the clutch plate because he had like a ridiculous clutch. It was like a stage 1,000, whatever. I was like, no, I don't need
on
that.
Off switch.
Exactly. I did not need that. But it did have like the did come with a drive shaft. I think that was another one that was years ago. But it was It just bolts
like
in.
no modification to like the trans tunnel.
Oh no,
like
no,
that's what I always worry
right
about.
in,
Yeah, we're like either like making the trans tunnel larger or where the shifter goes through the floor.
No, it all lines.
That's cool.
That's located by the linkages, isn't it? Or is that a top load transmission where the shifter comes straight out of the top? Okay, so that's crazy that does line up.
Yeah.
Well, because they came in the Cobras, and the Cobra, it's a 4.6 4 valve, so it and it bolts right up to that. The motors are actually essentially the same. Well, now I guess they're a little different.
So then you can,
but the heads are different. I think the blocks are the same.
So then you can just use like a Cobra drive shaft.
Yeah,
I think that's
made.
That's sick.
What it is.
Yeah, I know nothing about Mustangs.
When people say T56, I think of like the Catfish, Camaro, and Firebird. I think were the cars that mostly came with those T56s.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think the shifter's located slightly differently on those.
Okay, I could see that. Because, I didn't hear about too many guys swapping in like the F-body T56s into the Mustangs. But now I managed to find one. He had it.
What did it come out of?
It came out of a GT, but it was like a race car GT.
Okay, so this was already one made to fit a Mustang if it wasn't already off of like a Cobra originally.
You know what? Now that I think about it, I think this T56 specifically, I think he said it came out of a Viper.
That's interesting.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so whatever, and then he had it built, and then only had it in the car for like 2,500 miles, and then sold. I think he blew the car up and just started parting it out. I had to drive down West Virginia for that one, but well worth it.
Yeah,
it was a hell of a deal because T56 at the time were like $1,500. I think I got everything for like $2,000, something like that.
Yeah,
it was like
damn,
bolt right into the car, and now I don't have to worry about it ever grenading on me. Because
had a T5 before that,
not a T5, a TR3650. So that. I snapped the input shaft clean on that. I was doing a burnout at the Kirkwood Cruise. Went to grab second, and then that's actually on my Instagram if you wanted to pull it up. I went to grab second and just nothing. I think you're on Phil's page.
Oh yeah, I am on Phil's page. There we
go. Maybe. Down.
Now it's back up.
Maybe.
I think.
I don't know.
I think it's back up.
Maybe.
Well, there is a picture.
It's like a bridge.
Yeah. Oh, it's right there.
No, well, that is Kirkwood Cruise, but that's just me doing a burnout.
That was a different time at Kirkwood Cruise with the burnout.
So maybe it's
older then.
No, it's older. It is older.
Yeah.
Because the car sat for a little bit because I didn't have...
There's the bridge.
Yeah, that's from Cruise.
No, there's that little bridge that's over top of Kirkwood.
Yeah, like it's looking down at the car.
Yeah. Yeah, this is really old now.
Man, where the hell is it? The E36 with the 5.0. I could have swore it was on here because I saw looking for.
You used to post a lot more.
I did, but I don't give a shit anymore.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot. You did have an E36 with a 5.0, didn't you?
I was gonna put the 5.0 in it, but then
nah,
it's not this far back. Back when I had a Honda.
Yeah.
Old Del Sol.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, all this like old drifting stuff is crazy.
You know what? Maybe it's not on my Instagram. Maybe I saw it in my photo gallery. That's maybe what I'm thinking of. Yeah, probably not.
But also, so if you scroll back down, Adrian, 'cause this is also interesting. So that blue, the blue S13 coupe that you had, dude, single cam, killing.
Yeah, single cam, just bone
video.
stock single cam.
Yeah, I don't think that's a video.
Yeah,
it is a video. Okay.
Like, bruh, this thing's crazy.
All the clutch kicks.
Bro, single cam? Like, let's fucking go. I mean, I know we were talking about, like, my car. I'm like, well, I mean, like, what's the power going to feel like? You know, you don't know. But But you got it done with a single cam. And
Absolutely.
And by no means was that single cam what any of us would consider healthy or fast.
Right.
Just keep kicking that clutch. You'll get there.
But so same thing, dude. Didn't you? That was the same single cam that you had for like 2 years, right? 2?
Not quite. So that car, when I got it, I did put a different single cam in it.
Okay.
Because we were out snow drifting, and it just got a tap. I don't know what the. It's top end, bottom end, whatever. I was that was back when they were like $100 a pop. So I was like,
yeah,
I'm not even gonna fucking try to fix this thing.
Yeah.
So I went and bought a motor that came out of a automatic. So hopefully when I put it in, it felt a little stronger.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, this one probably wasn't as beat on as much.
Yeah.
So.
What do you think about like these, like the Hayes guys that just do single cam turbo?
Oh yeah,
like, they're doing like big boosts, and I don't know if you,
they got to figure it out. I like those cars. They're pretty badass, and I mean they fucking work.
Yeah, and like
they fucking work.
Their thing is that what they do is like the old Honda method. I don't know if you ever heard of this, like back in the day, because like Hondas have that same like reliable stoutness where.
What are you talking about? Like JDM Magic, try to keep it in?
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
yes.
Just walk the...
Yeah, so putting head studs in without taking the head off.
Okay,
which,
yeah.
Obviously, if you go by the book, it's like, no, like the head's going to tweak, but like there's a certain... If you do it in the right order...
You just use the pattern that you use to take it apart and put it back together. You can slip
the studs in, and like I've got LRP head studs, stock head gasket, like the magic is all still there, and like that's how those guys run those single cams, is just... stock motor, like out of the junkyard, head studs, and a big turbo.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the 5.0
Yeah.
That we got it started. I drove to my house and I got rid of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember seeing much of this.
There was a trail from Nick's house to my house of transmission fluid, and I was at that point like. I was just so over the fucking car. I was just like, I don't want to pull. Like it
was a lot of work.
Yeah, it was a lot of work. I thought I was gonna have to pull the whole swap back out, and I was at a different point where like now like whatever. We got to get back into it. We got to get back into it. But.
Yeah, and see, and like that's another point in time where like that's a situation that can deter somebody from even getting into it, because like you just throw your hands up and you're like, dude, I'm done.
Right.
Like I just dumped all this money and I went nowhere, And like even Nick, like Peace Clock, he did his 5.0 swap and then it just never really ran right, And then it was just like threw his hands up and then he was done with it,
right?
And I kind of found myself in that same boat, but just not having like the cash and then like just the difficulties that come with it, it was like, but yeah, we've talked about this before. I'm glad that I was able to like walk away. I wish I was smarter like you and just didn't sell everything, because I mean, how much I sold everything for. Like today, bro, triple it.
Oh my god, yeah, you'd be sitting on a honey pot right now.
Dude, that'd be my little nest egg.
Your retirement
dog, I could be retired today. You could be looking at a retired man.
Right.
So it sucks, but yeah, I'm happy in the situation that I am. Like this thing, S14 kind of fell in my lap, and but hey, speaking of that and like that kind of falling into my lap, I did want to talk about more of like the finding the deals, because that's another thing with like people kind of getting like losing like mid-build motivation, and then like they're up on marketplace, and that's like it's very unfortunate, to like prey upon the people that have fallen into a bad spot, but like that is kind of the best like way to get into drifting, because right before I bought that, I really didn't have the cash at the time, but you sent me one where it was a 350Z, I think, that came with a trailer. So it was like, just bring a truck and you can take the trailer and the car, and it was like $7,000, and it had like an aero, like fucked up aero on it, but like had the angle kit, had the hydro, had a welded diff, like had the seats, and it was like, fuck, $7,000.
I get where you're coming from, but that goes against every bit of advice where people say don't buy someone else's project.
Oh, but for sure, but
for sure, buy someone else's project is what you're saying.
Yeah, but at the same time, man, like
depending on the project.
Yeah, I mean, and I won't name any names, and I won't name like where it went, but like we know we have a friend who bought a bag WRX and then was able to like sell the bags, the wheels, some of the other like modification stuff off of it, and then like almost doubled the money off of that, and then a little Lucas Oil honey, and then sold it off, and then like quadrupled the money that they, you know what I'm saying? Like a little shady, but like the engine was good when he sold it, you know. But all I'm saying is, this is like, all I'm saying is that like you can make a ton of money off of just buying someone's build and pulling off all those parts because like they don't want to do it.
Right.
They're done. They threw their hands up. But like you are ready to just spend a couple hours of like pulling these parts off, sitting on them for a little bit.
That's the easy part.
And then
pulling the parts off is the easy part. Dealing with the crackheads on Facebook Marketplace is the fucking hard part, unless you're Julian.
Yeah.
I've just learned to be patient with them.
Yeah.
I just
the amount of times don't mean it.
The amount of times I just want to go off on somebody because you're just pissing me off. I like to keep my good reviews on Marketplace, and I just bite my tongue and just you deal with it. But
so point being is that like even if it's not what you wanted, because I remember I was looking at that car and like personally I'm not a fan of Z's, and like one of my things was like, yes, I want to just like get back into it. I want the easiest thing, but I just am not a huge fan of them, you know. And also like weirdly enough, they're kind of like almost like big person cars. Like they're tiny, but like for a boy like me, if you're built like me, dude, like that fucking, the door comes up like this. Right. I'm like, I'm not comfortable. Like I feel too small for this thing.
No, even when you put your arm up, you feel like you're going like this. Yeah. It is kind of weird. Yeah. But.
So I mean, like, yes, it's like probably like one of the best options for just getting onto the track. But like, if I'm gonna spend the money on it, I'm just not gonna be happy. I'm never gonna be like fall in love with it. You know? And then before I knew it, S14 fell in my lap. But yeah, so I mean, but buying one of those, I thought about it just on the fact of like a trailer that's worth $2,000, like all of the knuckle setup and like all the little like miscellaneous parts that you could probably pull off and replace with like a junkyard part. You know, it's like another $2,000. And like the car certainly worth $7,000, especially stock. Because it is hard to sell a drift car. Like for what you're saying. But like if you look at it and you're like, bro, I can take all these parts off. Like, like a knuckle setup, that's sick.
Right.
Just saying.
No,
like
absolutely.
It's there.
I mean,
yeah.
That is one way to do it.
Yeah. But yeah. I don't know. So I mean, it's like not like, because that's the other part. You have to have like $7,000. So that's the hard part.
That too.
But yeah. But other than that, man, it's kind of a good way to go about it.
I'm 100% one of those people who just will like, I'm selling this whole thing and I'm taking a loss because I don't want to pull the parts off and deal with the people on Facebook.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna call you next time.
Yeah.
Hey man, I'll
take commission.
I've done it before. I mean, I've listed a couple cars for my buddy. He's just one of those people. It's like he just doesn't want to deal with anybody on Marketplace. So I list it and. So I sold 2 M3s for him, and he, I mean, God, one of them, the E92, just the amount of stupid. It was literally the first question was rod bearings done, rod bearings done, rod bearings done. Like, dude, they're like, yes, but whatever. It's like, and then the amount of other stupid questions is just like that was one of the like worst ones. Just like those, I don't know, if it was just BMW owners or what, but like. Man, and then like you had these guys who were like clearly like wholesalers or just like, hit you with like $10,000 less. It's like no, it's like 15. We're not. Yeah, one of them was like, I'll give you 15K cash today. I'll come right now. I'm like, nah, bro, we're good.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you look at your picture, like clearly, or like look under their profile and they have like other cars listed. It's just like, no, you're not gonna get over on me.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like a huge evolution in like going from Craigslist to Facebook, where like you got to like look at someone's profile. Where like on Craigslist you had a phone number, like, maybe an email, like.
But I feel like I dealt with less bullshit on Craigslist.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you just dealt with the scammers, and like you could tell easily that they were scammers.
Yeah, that's true.
And then, but like you didn't have. I think because Craigslist it wasn't as quick. Where is this still available? Like you just have all these listings. You actually had to put a little bit of work into it.
There was less people. Like if you had to go out of your way to go on Craigslist to go look for. Everyone's got a fucking Facebook profile.
That too. Yeah,
it's true.
Everyone does.
Yeah. That and again, it's just so easy to just message and it's just like you could just type, $500 or like lowball the fuck out of somebody. It's just now
and some people just do it for fun.
Yeah, that too. They just get a kick out of it.
Fixing the marketplace.
Yeah, we've seen
trying
those
to.
videos.
I've seen this. Yeah. It's just I don't know. Some of these people are disrespectful with it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really care. Whatever. I just sift through it. But
Yeah.
man, it's just.
It's a jungle out there.
It certainly is.
Yeah.
I almost missed the Craigslist days.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Craigslist actually is. I have a good argument that I think that Craigslist actually is like the better place to buy cars now because it costs money to post there.
Right.
So like it just breaks that barrier of entry for like the crackheads who sell shit.
Right.
You know, like so.
Yeah. No. I mean, you could definitely potentially get a better car. But I mean, is it? I haven't been on Craigslist in a while looking at cars. Isn't it mostly dealers just listing shit on there?
Last time I looked.
Yeah, a lot of it is.
Which like I'm not.
Yeah.
Gonna be buying from a dealer. I'm looking for that
deal.
That private owner that's selling that perfect deal.
Yeah.
I mean, you really gotta wait, but they're out there.
Yeah.
I mean, they pop up here and there, and you got to be ready to jump on them. But I think it's getting a little easier too. With like, man, 2-3 years ago, you had to like within an hour be there, and it's like if you're at work, it's like,
you're
well, I guess I'm not getting this one. Now it's like you have a little bit of time. You might be able to get off work now.
What is that?
What, the truck?
No, the fucking CNC machine.
It's,
Click it.
$5,000 is what it is.
All right, we're gonna come back to this. Want to take a pee break? Let's take a pee break.
Yeah.
Bro, so we're back from the pee break. So speaking of you drifting since like 2016, pretty much. I mean, you know, you're a little hiatus, but like, 2015. Yeah, really. Well, no, actually earlier than that, you were out there with us. I think my first time at the track was 2014, and you were there. Yeah, because
we have the picture. It's on my Instagram of us all like lined up going.
Oh, the gas station pic.
Yeah,
yeah,
with the Wawa. I think
that was sick. Yeah, and actually, as a matter of fact, that's a good point.
I think it's further up.
I think I didn't go to the first one.
My buddy passed out at the party. Let me see. It's further up.
Yeah, Adrian gave me shit for like deleting a bunch of pictures off my Instagram, but this is why I did it.
Right.
It's because like when we were like Instagrams in high school, we just posted like random shit. Oh, the wall in New Jersey.
The wall in New Jersey. For FD.
FD. Yeah. R.I.P. to that, man. That
I
sucks.
know. But hey, it's at the greatest place on earth now.
It is, yeah.
There I have my 240, so I should be at the track shortly after that. Yeah, that's the...
It's on a trailer there.
Yeah, and see, like I wasn't there for that one.
Okay,
but
what year was that? 2015, I think.
2015.
Yeah, 2015.
Yeah, okay. That was my first.
Yeah, you're right. It must have been 2015, 2016 then for me.
Mm-hmm. And then there's that
for a while.
That picture next to the
there's my
240. That one, all of us.
Yeah.
Lined up in the pits.
Hell yeah.
2015.
Yeah, 2015.
Yep.
May. Yeah.
What was that?
Everyone but you.
Spring moves.
I know. I drove. I drove it up.
Ballsy.
Yeah, dude. Yep. And I did that a couple times. Remember, like when I hit the wall up there, and I fucking had to drive it back.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. So like getting into drifting again now, you know, I think getting a trailer is the adult decision. You know, I think there's tons of arguments to say. I don't know how you feel, but there's tons of arguments to say like just go. You know, like just go. Like get out there, drive your car. You know, like. But at the same time, man, it just feels very irresponsible. Like as an adult. Like,
so. To touch on that point, I say just go, yes, but there's also options to still go with a trailer without owning one.
Yeah.
You have U-Haul for like $50 for the day. It is an added cost, but
it's not just $50 for the day because then like you're paying also per mile, and then you also have to add gas.
Well, if you're renting their truck, I'm saying if you use like in your case, if you had like if you had a truck but didn't have the trailer, wanted to get out there but didn't want to drive the car there, you could rent the trailer for $50. Yeah. That's what I did for the first half of my season.
Yeah. dude, pull up U-Haul. I am interested.
It might be $60, but like it was 50. It was I could afford it back then. So, right. You know what I mean? Like
we're in a post-COVID society. Shit's expensive.
Yeah, that's true.
Cargo trailer.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how much it is because it is a you just I would just like.
This is all of their trailer.
Just go back to Google. Just go back to Google and put in U-Haul car trailer. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I guess if if you're renting the truck too, then it starts running up your costs.
Renting the truck, that definitely blows. But
yeah, whatever.
But yeah, so I think I would say like trailer I think is kind of a must, personally.
I mean, I agree with you.
But I think the trailer part is the cheap part. The expensive part is getting a truck.
$55.
Yeah, it's still $55. That's sick.
So hasn't been hit too hard by inflation.
Yeah. And see, that's what I'm saying. I look at inflation and I'm like, none of this shit makes sense. Like how Arizona Tea and the price of a trailer can say the same price, but like everything else is fucked.
Right.
Like it's just people are charging too much money for stuff and they're just getting away with it. I hate it. Because like if U-Haul can like keep pushing them out and like so can Arizona iced tea, it's like that's the litmus test,
right?
Like no, everybody else is just overcharging for shit, But so to that point, like what do you say like the bare minimum from getting out and drifting is, Like we know like the car, everybody always says like the seat harnesses.
Oh, you're
maybe
talking
a wheel,
equipment, or are you talking
diff.
money wise?
I'm talking about. Like equipment wise, going out drifting, like what's the if I'm going out drifting and I'm like Julian, like what am I gonna need? Like you already checked out my car's ready. Like what do I need? What would you recommend?
You need a jack. You need some form of tools to at least change your wheels.
Yeah.
Spare wheels. Yeah. With tires, whether they're used or new. That's
Ooh, tire topic's good. We'll go into that next.
That's up to you. You need, I'd bring some oil.
Yeah.
Personally, I like to trailer. You know what I mean? I don't, if you had a street car and you're going to like a parking lot event, I think you could be fine driving. Mm-hmm. If you're going to like a road course, like E-Town, it's fast, there's things to break your car at. If you're not going to trailer there, have some kind of provision or at least price out, make sure you have the money aside that you can get your fucking car home.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're going to be shitting bricks if your car breaks and you can't get it the fuck home.
Yeah.
Like at least...
Because it's like $500, right? Is it like a good estimation to like tow something 2 hours away?
If you got AAA...
Yeah, I mean, maybe invest in AAA. If you're not going to buy a trailer right out the bat, I don't know how much memberships are, but I think
it's like $100 a year.
I mean, for $100 a year to be able to have your car towed from the track potentially.
I know. I wonder if anyone's actually had to do that.
And then
I wonder what the stipulation is for like AAA. You're like, I broke down.
I don't know. I've used AAA. I've abused AAA a bit.
Yeah.
So I mean, my cars weren't like broken, having to be dragged up onto the flatbed, but like. Towed from the body shop to Wes's house or to his shop or back to my place or whatever. It's not just like, oh, I was driving and I broke down, I need a tow. It was like, so my car's in pieces here and I need to get it over there to put it not into pieces anymore.
And they were cool with that?
Yeah, they did it.
Fuck yeah. All right. So pro tip, I think AAA could be the move.
Might be the move in this case, especially if you don't want to buy a trailer, or even rent one. I mean, I get it. It's like, if you don't have the means, you can't afford a truck, can't afford a trailer, don't have the places to keep it. Not even just affording it, but like my buddy Aaron, he goes, he drives his car to the track. He's A group now. He's fucking wild and out, dude. He's very good, like without a doubt. Like he's kept the car together, but you're running trains, like shit happens. You can fuck your car up, but respect to him figuring it out. But I think his situation is like a space thing. He doesn't have a place to keep a trailer. Yeah. And then even I think for getting a U-Haul parking it overnight, there's nowhere to really do that in his situation. Right. So it's like everybody does it different.
What about
Yeah.
spare wheels and stuff? How, like
Yeah.
transporting? Because I remember like with I think the time we just saw when I drove, I remember I had a hatchback, so that the 240 was a hatch. So, you know, I was like, oh, easy. Like I can just like keep the hatch open and then stuff a bunch of wheels in. So
Right.
we got like 15 minutes on the road, and like me and Nick were like, I'm gonna die. Like I'm getting carbon monoxide poisoning like immediately. Like the exhaust is just getting like it's just
Sucked right back
right
into the
in
car.
from, like the backdraft, and then ended up having to like. And again, like, you know, your truck was packed to the gills of tires in the back and tools and stuff. And everyone's trucks were all packed. And I'm like, please, like, someone take my fucking tire. Like, I need to get rid of, like, one tire.
Right.
They're like, leave it on the road. I'm like, I'm not leaving. I might need it. And I remember, like, I bullied somebody into it. And then, like, strapping an extra tire on top.
Right.
You know? So, like, it can be tough. And I see a lot of people doing, like, a one-day event. And, like, they can just, like... It's just crazy, but like strapping wheels to the roof, you know, just strapping them, and like
That's
even
not that
nice
crazy.
cars, but nice cars, man. Like you're
Put
like
a blanket down, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I don't know. They must do something, but I mean, I guess you can get creative for sure. Nothing's
There's
impossible.
a will, there's a way. I mean, I've
Yeah.
seen people do it to the trunk. I've seen them strap them to the roof.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to be doing that, I think you should get a roof rack. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, some kind of roof basket that
Yeah.
you can actually.
And at the very least, like, you know, just bring tires, not spare wheels, which
Right.
like adds an extra chore to the event. You know, it takes
got a
away
tire
some of the
machine
fun.
there.
They
Right.
do, but like, you know, it gets packed, you know, and like now that's an extra chore that you have to go do it. You know, you generally don't actually get that much time like in between like classes that go up or just like, you know, depending on how like the track's being formatted. You know, there's
Yeah,
not
I
like a-
remember the time I came up and saw you. You spent a lot of the time fixing like just little shit that kept popping up.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like it's just little stuff that like you had to kind of tinker with, but bam, it was like, okay, like I have like 20 minutes to like get something to drink, sit down, relax for a second, say hi to everyone who just showed up to watch me drift, and then maybe get something to eat, and then like you're back, and like you're trying to get every bit out of it, and like you kind of can't relax. It's just
Not too much.
It feels like work.
It is work. I mean, that's what it is. You're not going on the track and just sitting around and in between sessions and just lounging around. I mean, it's constant work. Yeah, there's always something to fucking do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether it's just, you know, even down to, if nothing, little tidying shit up, fixing little things, even just checking pressures, double checking bolts, nuts, because that shit comes loose. You got to nut and bolt check your car.
Yeah.
I've realized that this year. It's like, especially when you're running aftermarket parts, stock shit, not as much, but aftermarket shit, that shit all comes loose. Doesn't matter if you use Loctite. It does not matter if you use Loctite, whatever. I mean, because you got to think, you do dirt drops and shit. It's a lot of strain on those parts, and they just, you know.
Yeah.
They
And
come
like,
loose.
so, and speaking of that, so coming from someone like me who generally didn't trailer or anything, like the times that I didn't, like I hit a wall and then stoved in the corner, like broken tie rod, bent control arm, like having to replace all that. Like, thank God everyone at the track was like, you know, super prepared and willing to sell me parts, you know, on spot. And then, you know, I cracked the exhaust manifold at First State Drift when we went, and luckily that was only an hour, but same thing. I'm like getting carbon monoxide poisoning because like, you know, like the manifold's cracked.
I'd have thought you'd have built up a tolerance by then.
You would have thought, yeah. So, you know, like those are the kind of things that people don't think about. Like what I didn't think on my bingo card that like the fucking manifold was gonna crack, and like I didn't think I was gonna hit the fucking wall, you know. And then you do, and then I've seen other people just dirt drop and bend a rear control arm. You know, if you get into that dirt fast enough, and like maybe it rained, you know, it's a little wet, and that just grabs, and like that's enough to bend a control arm.
Yep.
Or, you know, whatever. So like, but those are the things that like are the difference between you driving home and then you figuring the fuck out, you know. So like, you know, and I guess you can be prepared, but like it almost seems like if you had the money to like be like, okay, I'm gonna buy a control arm, I'm gonna buy a tie rod, I'm gonna buy all this. It's like you should have rented a trailer, right? Like $50.
Might as well, yeah. If you're gonna have all the extras, I mean,
yeah,
you spent that money, save up a little more, spend the $50, you know.
Yeah. And then, then moving on to tires, like that's another one that like I had no experience with buying brand new tires, but like you have. Yeah. So, go off King tires.
Well, So I think for people getting into it, I don't think it's as necessary to focus on, a new tire. I will say with new tires, you get, especially if you're running the same one, you get consistency. You know what it's going to do. As long as you pick a good one. Don't pick a shit tire. Do your research. Right. There's Facebook groups and shit out there that'll, like drift tire reviews. You can go on there, look it up, and figure out what suits you best. Because there's some tires that I bought, and you get like a lap, and then they delaminate. It's like, well, that fucking sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like right now I'm running full weight HP 108s. It's a cheap tire. I think they're like $63 a tire.
Okay.
But I mean, if I'm not hot lapping, I can get, if I'm just running like front track, 7-8 laps out of it. Full track I could probably do like 4, which is a lot. And then I've gone up to Ready Set Drift up in Pocono. They had a event on the skid pad. I mean, I went half the day on more than that. I think I did like 30 something laps on fucking one set of brand new tires. So they last. But, that gives you consistency, which is nice to have when you're newer, but also like if you're just trying to do a budget and you've never really done it before, I wouldn't stress too much on like buying the tires, because that can create another barrier or entry to it. It's like, I got to buy new tires as well. Not necessarily. You can go to a tire shop, get some takeoffs of, a car that get, just all season tires. It doesn't matter. It's just ideally something
black, round, and rubber.
Right, exactly. Yeah. That's what I did for years. Definitely wasn't as consistent, and I like running the new tires now. But I wouldn't tell somebody new that like they absolutely have to go buy the new tires. Like, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because like it'll help them out, but also like it's a barrier entry. So I don't want to say it's a necessity. Like you have to go do this. Like if just to get you out there and turn some laps.
Yeah. Well, I think the fact that both you and Keith and basically all your friends started by just buying whatever used tires you found.
Buying. I never bought a used tire.
Acquiring.
Yeah.
All these used tires, like it's basically a non-issue for someone who's like dirt poor but wants to get into this, shoestring budget.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a necessity.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that like when you're ready for like buying new tires, because I think that like if you can get over the part of not being nervous about the speed and the timing and all that kind of stuff down, like now you're done wasting tires. Like now you're out there connecting like a full lap, and now it's like, okay, well, I'm connecting pretty consistently. Maybe if I had a better tire that I could get used to and become familiar with, like now I can really kind of hone in the little tweaks of like the line that you're taking versus like, I think that's probably best.
If anything, I think the inconsistency gives you more skill.
Well, for sure,
puts you in different situations. Lets you feel different things.
Yeah,
that's
because if you're no matter what, if you had a consistent tire, like that way, you're taking out that variable. But like if you're still trying to get used to like the speed of which you should be like going into, because that's a hard one to get used to. I remember like when I did the last ride along with you. I totally forgot. Dude, I totally forgot. What the fuck? And it didn't help that the first time I had been back on the track to do a ride-along, we were doing XTC.
Oh, was it XTC the first time? Oh, Lord.
So I hadn't actually been on the track as like
even
a ride-along.
Up a little bit?
Yeah, dude. So like flying into that corner for the first time, and I was like, oh boy, I forgot about that. And it was like, oh fuck, it's brake. Like, what the fuck? Why are we going so fast? Yeah. So, but like, and then once you get through the corner, I'm like, oh yeah, like it's, dude,
there it is.
It is
that fast.
It is that fast. Yeah. So, especially when you're the one like behind the wheel, it's like you like instinctively. You can be like, go, hit the gas, and you're like, no, like, or initiate too early because you're like, it's almost like I just want it to be in drift already, and like, but you still need to be building up speed, Right. So once you get over that hump, I think, and then you can connect a lap. I think, tires are cool then, to start like buying, like investing is the right word probably. Like you start investing in tires and like kind of honing in the skill. So, but yeah, I think that's it's probably pretty good. But and I also didn't know that like I never thought about like them delaminating that much because like if you buy cheap shit, it's not made for what we're doing.
No.
You know, and like that's what you're saying like looking up reviews and shit for tires.
Right.
Yeah.
It's honestly like running full track now. Like I don't think even like the used tires like I don't think I'd get very many full laps out of the shit I was running just because like I would make almost all of them chunk or like you start having like strings come off them. But like when I started, I wasn't running full track. You know what I mean? It started C group was running back track and then got bumped to B, and at that time B wasn't running full track. So, you know, it was just front track, and I was able to, you know, make those tires work. Didn't get them; they would get hot and eventually fail, but like, they worked.
And then
not like
carrying as much speed,
right? And I like the point that you brought up that like it changes it up, so like it gives you different feelings, so you can react and learn how to react. Okay, the car feels like this; it's looser, it's more grippy now. Gives you different variables, so like when you know you become faster and like just random shit happens or just like different tracks, I think you can go into it a little bit more prepared, and just because you know, oh, this feels different, kind of feels like something
different at that point is something you're used to.
Yeah, it's not like, whoa, what is this? Like, and then you lose it. Like, you're just like, okay, different. I can adjust. Whatever. Boom, done.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's a good point. Yeah, because I think a lot of people have different like driving styles as well. So a lot of people I hear like to have like the front end push, you know, like doing high tire pressure in the front, or they kind of want the front to be loose and they kind of want to drive the car with the rear, you know?
Right.
So they kind of want to like pitch the car in and then like be able to like grip up and push out, and they want the front end to just kind of be loose. And then there's other people that want the back end to be loose, and you kind of want to get the car around with like, you know, maybe kind of more steering, you know, like you want it to be more like twitchy, you know? So like with those different styles, like maybe you wouldn't be able to you know, like move to like a different style of driving without like those kind of like knowing those kind of variables, you know, too. So like, yeah, and just, you know, different tire setups. Like what it's I mean, you want to talk about your tire setups?
Yeah.
You're not competitive, but
yeah, it's a big secret.
This is the stance scene. You're not getting my wheel specs.
I mean, in the rear, I run 205, 45, 17. 17s just because they're a little bit cheaper. 18s, I mean, you're probably spending.
I never understood that.
$5,
It's a bigger
$6.
rim. There's less rubber. It's a bigger hole in the tire.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense, but it just is what it is. So whatever, I'll sacrifice on like the style points. Not that the car is super,
all
much of a
style
looker,
for you.
much of a looker. But no, it's, you know, if I can save a couple dollars on each tire, it adds up over the season. You know?
Yeah.
So I in the rear, like I said, 225, 45, 17. I just run a full weight HP 108. They last forever. They're great tires. Not super grippy, but again, it's a low power car. It doesn't really. You don't need a lot of grip. I mean, I know there's some guys running VQs and they run like a 265 Kenda and like low pressure, and like they're just I don't know if they're
stock Z.
Apparently, I've heard it like people talking, you know, on like podcasts and shit about it. I'm just like, I don't know if their track surface is like, this isn't really Club Loose guys I've heard talk about it, but like, you know, other parts of the country.
Got real shitty track surface.
Yeah, it might be shitty track surface, or maybe they're just like
kicking the shit out of the clutch.
Clutch kicks every fucking 2 seconds the entire track. It's like, I mean, you're really driving the car to get it sideways at that point, but I don't know.
The more the grip, obviously, like, you know, there's a lot of other things you can change about your driving style and alignments and whatever, but also, like, the more gripped up, the more shit breaks, you know? Like,
yes, 100%. I like my car loose because shit has not really been breaking. Knock on wood.
Wood.
But I'm rough on that car. I drive the piss out of it. It's a little bit looser in the rear. Like, I can get the wheel speed up, and, you know, I can put the car basically where I want it. But again, I have never broken an axle, never broken anything in the driveline. Like, it's, you know, and I think you're right, because the more grip you start adding, and you're just shot, especially with each clutch kick, you're just shocking that system. And that's when those axles start. I hear guys at the track all the time. They're like, "Oh, you got an axle, blah blah blah." I started bringing axles with me because like I saw all these guys need
Yeah,
them, and like
my
I've had
time's
to
coming.
give guys axles, but yeah, it's just like, all right, let me have this because this is clearly a common thing with Z's.
Yeah.
Haven't run into it
Now you're
yet.
sitting
But
there like,
yeah, I think it's because
Yeah.
I run the car a little looser than
Yeah.
some of these guys. I think it's more they run it
Yeah.
more gripped up. But back on tire setup for the front, I run real grippy. I run a Toyo R888R. I want to say that's either a 245 or a 255 in the front. That is an 18-inch aspect ratio, maybe a 40, maybe a 255, 40, 18, maybe something like that. 245.
Those are the wheels I gave you, right?
Yes.
Yes, they're 18 by 9.5, and I think it's plus 40 or no, plus 24. I don't
The
think
fact that you remember that.
Yeah.
I don't
don't
know
just
what
put
all
that
set
out there.
there.
You got to keep those specs.
Yeah,
My
don't put my specs out there, bro.
Yo,
You didn't tell them about the wheel space.
bro. Your boys out here running big spacers.
Got to.
I'll be doing big spacers on the front.
You got to.
Yeah.
Honestly, for the angle, that is one other modification I didn't mention. I finally
forgot about that.
finally just added the little GK Tech bolt-on kit to the knuckle
Yeah.
adapter because I ran a car with stock angle for years. I
Yeah.
mean, up until last year was when I
Yeah.
finally added angle, which made a world of difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think it made me a better driver because I really learned the limit of that car and
Yeah.
what I could do in stock-ish form or
Yeah.
drift setup form.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm glad I did it that way because I think some people add the angle and then use it as like
It's a crutch.
as a crutch versus like really learning the limits of the car first and then adding that extra so you can get that extra
Yeah.
angle out of it. And I don't know. I'm glad I did it that way.
Yeah,
But,
I agree because there's like little bad habits. I mean that you could be doing at that time, but the angle kit is making up for it, and then you never correct it.
Right.
Maybe your driving style just gets better around it, but like you never really corrected that issue. So like it just kind of inhibits being like a really really good driver.
Right.
Because we all know like if somebody who's like did just get an angle kit and like you really don't know how to drive, like a C-class person, could hop into an angle kit car and then, immediately just jump to B-class because like they were able to make it around, for an example, but like that car is really not going to be like, they're going to have a harder time going from B to A-class. They're going to be stuck in B for a long time, because like they didn't get to that learning stage that like you were supposed to do in C-class,
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot of those like little kind of like nitpicky things that you can kind of flesh out. Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, because it really does. Like it just like forces you to like make the car work, So it's cool. But yeah, and dude, those rack spacers too, like the offset rack spacers. You're just looking at that.
So
like, those
I
are
don't
pretty
have
cheap.
the offset ones for the angle kit. You're supposed to run. They have like the bolt-on rack spacer. It's weird because it's offset. It's like
Yeah,
one
that's what I'm
side
talking
gives you a
about.
washer, and then the other side just is like a screw and
that.
spacer. But they're not like actually offset.
Offset.
They're in line still.
Yeah,
Um,
gotcha.
But you need that to run the GK Tech bolt-on
Yeah.
angle kit.
Yeah, that's probably what I'll do. I kind of bought them preemptively, but I'm like, dude, if I'm putting a rack in, putting this, I'm already there, I'm already doing this. I'm like, I'm just going to put them in.
So you're
Right.
going to use it as a crutch. Good job.
Thank you. Going against everything we just talked about.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Nah, I think for the little smidge of angle that might give you,
I'm not
you're
gonna notice
fine. It's not like you're throwing a bunch of it where,
Yeah.
it's similar to like on the Z's, you can take out they have a little bump stop bolt. It can give you a couple more degrees.
Yeah.
You do something like that, it's not really making or breaking it. Like it's night and day with the
Yeah, I want my wheels to
angle kit.
turn like 85 degrees.
Right.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing too. Like, I think does that bolt-on kit do anything for like the Ackerman correction? I don't think
There's two settings that it gives you for Ackerman. I'm not a setup guy, so I can't remember what I did. I did. I think I did the less aggressive one.
Okay.
Maybe. Yes.
Yeah.
I think closer to 0, maybe.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I was like, I watched the video on it. I was like, all right, how do I need to like put this in? And then I was like, all right, that sounds more closer to what I like, whatever they said in the video. So that's how I did it.
Yeah,
I
okay.
can't, again, I don't remember exactly
Yeah.
what, maybe it's closer. I don't know
Yeah.
what all the, I still don't really, I guess Ackerman's what? How
Yeah, so
the
that's
wheel,
gonna make it so that your wheels turn equally.
Equally.
So because the way that it works with like a stock car is that like when you go to full lock, the inside wheel is going to be more pitched. It's actually going to have more angle.
Well, that's
on the
because it's
inside
going
wheel.
around a tighter
Yeah,
diameter
radius,
circle.
right.
yeah. So the Ackerman just corrects that outside wheel to actually track with
Mimic.
the inside wheel. Yeah.
So I think I had mine set closer to what the car normally does. It doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't think
feel
it's
like if that's the case, an aggressive Ackerman setting would be like the wheels track identical.
identical. Yep.
So yeah, if you're probably keeping it, if you're going for the less aggressive setting, you're probably keeping it more in line with the stock wheels, where the inside wheel still turns a bit more.
right. I think that's the route I went.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on. I might be completely ass backwards. I might have did it the other way.
Yeah.
But like they explain it. GK Tech has a.
They have really good videos.
They do have, yeah, exactly. They have really great videos. Officer Dan,
Officer Dan,
explaining
shout
it.
out.
Shout out. Yeah, no, the way he explained it, I was like, okay, that's the style of driving I like better. I'm
Yeah.
gonna do it this way.
Yeah, and you would want to try it out first, like, you know, setting your car up aggressively right out of the box with something new. Like, you would want to go, like, the thing that's, like, less aggressive first and then, like, see how it feels.
Right.
And then, like, once you're used to that, it's like, okay, well, hey, for fun. You know, I have a, you know, track time. I'm going to, like,
Flip them.
try it.
Or
Yeah.
move it. Yeah.
Move it. And
Yeah, because
see what that feels
you're
like.
already adding another variable in with
Right.
the more angle, so it's like now you want to add the Ackerman setting in too. It's like, okay, well now the car's completely different versus if we just change the angle and try to keep the alignment settings similar to what they were before.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can go drive it at the track. It's not going to be, you know, a shell shock. It's like, what the fuck's the car doing?
Relearning,
now?
like, a whole car.
Especially if you're trying to run tandem. I mean, I did a private day after I put it on just because, like, I knew there was going to be some, like, figuring out. I was like, all right, I'm not going to...
I'd like to mess with my car without having to worry about other people.
Right,
around me.
exactly. So I did a private day, and thankfully I did because I found out I needed wheel spacers because on turn one, it just started going...
Yeah.
I was like, all right, that's not good.
Yeah, which that's the worst.
Yeah, because I did like U-turns in the like on the ground and full lock.
Yeah, but
it
once your
wasn't rubbing.
suspension loaded up
Yeah.
at speed, you were just
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's another thing too, man. Like, is having cars, like, whether or not you want like a softer suspension or like stiffer suspension, because that totally changes the car. And and to be honest, I felt like your car definitely like moved a lot, and like that probably now makes a lot of sense. 10-year-old coilovers, dude.
That I haven't
Yeah.
even adjusted the dampening.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, I've never messed
You're
with
one of those
setting.
drivers that just drives around the issues in the car.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I just get in the car and go. I don't think guys ask me, he's like, "What are your shocks set at?" I'm like, I don't fucking know. Whatever they were when I bought the
what
car.
spring rate you running?
I don't know. Go look. Like, you tell me.
You tell me.
If you can find out, let me know, because I have no clue.
Yeah.
Like, respect to the guys who are like nerd out on it and understand it. Like, I wish I did, but like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just get in the car and fucking drive. I don't
Yeah.
know. And again, you're probably right. I'm probably driving around because every time I make a change that's like better, I'm like, oh, that's a lot better. The car feels so much better. Oh, look, I can do this easier now.
Yeah.
God forbid you get in a properly set up car, you're going to be an absolute weapon around the track.
Probably. That's I need to stop being like stubborn and like actually like try to learn these things, or at least like talk to guys who do, and
Yeah.
just be like, yo, help me figure this out, and just
Yeah, and luckily for you, there's Z's all over the place now,
You're right.
drifting. Yeah, there's tons.
Nah,
Yeah.
Hey,
and
what's
the-
your specs?
Yeah.
yeah, but like, and everybody at the track, they're super helpful. Like,
Yeah.
so I know it's just asking the question, and like, well, on the Z2 for even just damping, you gotta drill the strut tower, and then put like the extenders on there so you can actually adjust it. Otherwise, you got to pull the shock out each
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So I bought those. I haven't installed them yet. That is on the list. Those are going to go on once I get a chance to work on the car here shortly, hopefully.
Yeah. I feel you, dude. I'm right there with you.
But
But I don't have to go to the
I
track.
think we've all been where you're at.
Yeah.
We're sitting on parts. I'm sitting on parts.
Yeah.
I just haven't put in. I've got like front shocks for my cars that I put the backs in, never put the fronts in. Speedometer cable, like there's so much more. That trunk's full of parts.
Yeah.
Dude, it's the same shit. Not even just for the track car. It's like the tow rig. I got like gaskets and shit that I've been meaning to do for like the longest time. They're just sitting.
It's
in the
so
garage.
easy to be sitting on like Rock Auto or whatever. Like, I need that, I need that, I need that. Then they show up and you're like, sick. And then you never touch it.
Now I gotta
That's
do it.
literally where
I'll
I'm
get
at.
to it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's funny.
yeah.
But so speaking of that, I guess I can kind of assume that you don't really do alignments. Are you out on alignments?
So I don't personally do alignments unless we're at the track and fuck shit up and had to ask somebody with toe plates to help me do them because I'm not. You know, I know it's just measurement, but it's just, I don't know.
Because it
But-
reminded me, you were super busy, but you were talking about how like at Club Loose, there's one side of the car that wears more on the inside or outside.
When I say I don't do alignments, I do take my car to a drift shop, Committed Service Brand. He does the alignments for me. So.
Nice. Okay, cool. So like it is actually set up.
Yeah, no, it is actually set up now. But yeah. So at first, like before I did like had anything aligned on the car, I mean, I had like the front end like tow and go basically at a tire shop, but I got like a proper alignment. The car felt a lot better. And then now that I got all the arms in the rear to adjust everything, I was trying to adjust for tire wear because like, you know, it's just the track just eats the tires. So trying to get the evenness tire wear so I can, you know, make the tires last as long as possible. Even with that, still you can have it dead nuts perfect, but then like, you know, you have a bank track and like sometimes some parts of the track
you got more lefts and rights or whatever.
Right. It'll eat up one side of the, you know, one side faster than the other. So what I do in between sessions, like after maybe like 3 laps or so, I'll switch as long as I'm not running full track. Running full track, there's no sense in and flipping them because they're just gonna get worn out in like 3-4 laps. But if I'm shutting it down after the bank, after like 4 laps, I'll come in, I'll swap them, and I've noticed that I'll get a little bit more. I can get another lap or 2 maybe. So it helps. You know?
Yeah, because I've heard like some guys run like a little bit more toe, or you know a little like more camber, or like even like playing with like stiffness and like the shock. But I mean that's crazy. That's like just like you were saying, like just geeking out. It takes some time.
It does.
You know,
Like
I mean, like suspension. There's entire books dedicated, like thick fucking books dedicated to like what every bit of angle and geometry does. Like, do you know what roll center is? I don't know what it is, but I know it exists.
right.
Yeah, well, that's a huge one for drifting. It's like roll center correction.
Roll center, caster probably plays a big.
It's a huge
caster. I believe helps with the self steer.
Yeah,
which is
caster
like,
helps with
that's the
self
roll
center.
center.
Oh, self center. Okay.
No, that roll center that I'm talking about is like something different.
Could be a Googleable. No, but this does remind me of like what we were talking about with those off-centered, offset like the rack spacers, which are like just trying to like help keep the tie rods themselves. They're trying to keep the tie rods
in
flat.
line,
so
parallel with the ground, in
so like
line
GK
with the
Tech
knuckle.
makes it. I'll show you. Like they have those
Because that'll do something to like bump steer or something.
exactly. So, but just keeping like the tie rods flat and then also keeping them like in line.
Actually, you know what? That's a mod that people do to the Fiero because the back suspension is like Chevy Citation front suspension, and they've got really shit like whatever that term is, bump steer.
Yeah.
So like there are spacers because there's no like there's tie rods like you would see on the front of a car, but they don't go to a rack. They go to just a bracket on the subframe.
It comes like a toe
And
arm.
there's spacers, I think, drop the outer edges down to be parallel so that when you hit a bump, it doesn't turn the back wheel and give you like crazy oversteer. Yeah,
Fieros are nuts.
Fieros
like,
are
they have front suspension from a different car,
like
in
turned
the
around
rear.
backwards.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, Pontiac wanted to make fancy suspension for the last year, 1988. They had that all new suspension, but GM was like, "No, that's too much money. Here's a Chevy Citation. Use this."
yeah.
And they just took the
Devious
front
work.
subframe out of the Chevy Citation, flipped it around, stuck it in the back of the car, and we're like, okay.
We're sorry.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at the back subframe assembly, like if you drop the engine out, which I have a picture, maybe I'll dig it up when we're like off camera, but it looks like the front subframe out of like a little subcompact.
Really?
Yeah. Fieros, man. Nuts.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Those are mid-engine, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why it's a front subframe, because it's got all the provisions for the engine, the
Right.
transaxle, the suspension, all of that. They just shoved it in the back of the car.
Okay.
Yeah, he bought John's old Fiero.
Oh, you bought John's old?
Yeah.
Okay.
It still doesn't run.
Yeah.
Did it run when he had it or no?
It ran, and it broke down on me 20 minutes from his house, driving it home at like 10 o'clock at night.
Did you call him back?
But I fixed it, and it ran for like another couple of months, another like year or so, and then something in the harness melted, and it left me stranded in Delaware. And I've been slowly piecing it back together since then. I kind of lied. It does run. I need to put coolant in it and a bunch of other shit.
Right.
And the
It's a
interior's like
laundry list.
ripped apart because I don't know what the fuck the guy before John did to the harness, but he like has wires fucking run from the front to the back. It was a fucking mess. I'm working
Jesus.
through it.
Can you imagine if he drifted? Like, bro, he'd be a mess. Like the projects that he takes on, it's crazy.
He
He loves
figure it out.
Adrian lives for it. He lives for it.
I don't live for it. It's a fucking addiction.
It's a
and it's
curse.
a problem.
It's the glutton for punishment.
At least
Yeah.
they're not German cars. I learned my lesson after that.
Yeah.
Fucking BMW.
Nah.
Now that's
Yeah,
Buckley's
after
clear
the
of that.
after the 90s, like there was that little weird period in the 90s where like E36 was like sick, and then everything in between that was like it's either like just it's all too
It's
complicated.
too new and complicated, or
Yeah.
it's too old and complicated.
Yeah.
Right.
E36 was like that era, you know.
That's a golden era for
That was
BMW.
like that was like one of the cars that when I was looking to get back into the game, I was like, yeah, E36 is probably right. And
I
then
mean, you were an E36 kid for a while.
I had a ton of parts.
You had
Dude, if anybody,
just one, or did you have more than one?
I had two.
You did have
Yeah,
two.
I have
okay.
two. I had a black one and then the white one.
Okay.
As well. Which, dude, that white one I sold for like $2,500.
Did you?
Dude, it's such a nice car.
You should have held on to
That was
it.
I
a
should have
coupe?
held on to it.
Was that a coupe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Clean body, straight, no rust. I'm just a fucking asshole. Like, dude, that sucks, man. And I have a ton of parts as well that I literally put on, like, there's like some E36 and Club Loose forum that I put them on. And like, I was like, $50 for like whatever item you want out of this, $50. The crickets. Nobody.
Nobody.
And then I literally put it on as like free. And I was like, for free. Literally, free. Like, just someone come take this. And here I am. Months. I was like, no, I will no longer look like an idiot. I'm keeping this shit. Like, fuck you guys. Like, I couldn't believe it. So if anyone does, has an E36 and is interested, I have like a bunch of those, like lollipops. I have a set of those. M3
those the,
engine mounts.
bushings?
Yeah, for the
Do you think
lower
I can make them
control
fit on
arm.
my fucking Geo? Because they're lollipop bushings. And they're
know.
shot.
You can have at it.
Okay.
They're yours.
There you go.
Sold. Sorry, y'all.
Sold.
Too late. Yeah, a bunch of random shit.
Like, if I
But-
can just make those work with some washers and
Dude,
shit, I'll fucking do
I have
it.
like 2 sets of taillights, like nice LEDs.
Nobody wanted
smoke
taillights?
Yeah, dude.
Really?
I may have put those up for like $100.
Okay.
But
I was gonna say
dude,
free
like $100.
taillights.
Like I bought them for like $300.
Right.
You know, so and like they're nice. They're like a nice LED with like they don't look pink when like the lights come on. So good. And that was the other set that I bought.
You
that
know,
looked pink.
you were just like lamenting the fact that you got rid of all your like 240 stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe you should just get an E36.
I thought that's what I'm saying. I thought about it, but then what happened?
Okay,
Look
cool.
what
You
happened.
have that. Get an E36 anyway.
Fuck. Shit. You're right. God damn it, you're right.
I mean, doesn't sound like a bad
That
idea.
sounds like the worst idea I've ever had. But we got way sidetracked. So we were talking about suspension, track day stuff. I don't know. I totally lost there. Oh, I know what I wanted to talk to you about. So you said private day. So shout out to.
That's what we're doing for your bachelor party, right?
I would love to.
Hell yeah, let's
but
do it.
yeah. But so East Coast Griff School, right at Club Loose.
Yeah, East Coast Drift School,
Englishtown?
Chris Knapp.
Yeah. So how was that? I mean, I've never done done a private day, and I think that they're slowly catching on. I don't know. I mean, what did you think about the private day?
It was great. It was awesome. It's just super low pressure. You just go out there, you drive right on the track, unload, so you don't have to be going back
In the
and forth to
pits.
the pits. Everything's right there. The one I did was a semi-private, so there was a couple other people there, but it was like
Okay.
I don't know, maybe there was 3. I went with Phil and Aaron, so us 3, and then There was maybe 3 or 4 other cars. It wasn't like overly packed.
Well,
or
that's
nothing.
like 7 whole people. That's
it
way
was,
better than like
Yeah.
the full events.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're just hot lapping. I mean, you can't. I don't think you can bring enough tires to
Do more than 2 hours.
Yeah, to do more
Yeah.
than 2 hours. It's insane.
And the
And
car-
even if you did, I mean, the car might
Right.
start getting hot. Or I mean, you gotta think. You're driving that long. Your adrenaline's going. You start getting tired. It's like
Yeah.
it's a lot.
And you get out of the car and you're like,
Yeah.
you know what? I think I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I quite get there, but, but I mean, I definitely you gotta stop, drink some water. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously change tires. But yeah, no, it's a super awesome experience. Chris is really helpful. You know what I mean? He'll also teach you if you don't know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I went, it was just for track rental, so you just kind of fly, little birdie, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I mean, he can get on there, ask, what layout do you guys want to do, and you all collectively agree. But you can do it with just up to I think 3 people. So it's like full private.
Is that like the minimum? Is 3?
I think so, or maybe you could pay for the other 2 slots or whatever if you really just wanted to track yourself.
Yeah.
But
that
yeah,
makes
no.
sense because if you were, like, unless you did want to really pay for that, and like if you could just like throw 2, 3 other random people in, it just like splits up the money.
Right,
I
it
guess.
splits the cost a little bit,
Yeah,
it makes it
okay,
easier.
cool.
But yeah, no, I mean you could do it with 3 people, and then I'm sure you just run whatever layouts you want. You probably don't even.
Yeah.
It's kind of like just do whatever the fuck you want. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's pretty awesome. It's a good time.
That sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
Now-
How about the clinic? Sorry.
The clinic, very, very, very recommended. Like highly recommend that somebody
That's coming up.
who's they
Is
actually
that good for like just if you've never slid a car in your life before and you want to like
Pretty
figure
much.
out,
So-
or is this something like I know how to slide a car, but I want to get better?
there's different levels to it. So for Club Loose, at least, there every track organization has some form, or at least from what I've seen, some form of a clinic. But for Club Loose specifically, they have your beginners, intermediate, and advanced. I never did do the beginner clinic. After going to one now, I would recommend it for everybody. If no matter your skill level, sign up for the clinic. Club Loose, at least from what I've seen, they only do once a year towards the beginning of the season. They just announced the beginners clinic. That one's coming up right before opening moves. And then the intermediate and advanced is usually, well, last year they combined them. I don't know why. Maybe they didn't have enough people sign up. I'm not quite sure the decision why they did that. But they announced the intermediate clinic, I think, before spring moves. Or after spring moves. It's the same weekend. And then I saw it. I signed up for it. I was like, I'm doing that. That sounds like a good time. So went there. They you do a track walk. They show you where your points want to be. Just kind of just go over every little thing you can think of. You can ask whatever questions you want. And then you start driving. And they did. They were clocking our speeds on entry because for tandems you want to be pretty consistent with your speed. You don't want to get behind a guy who's going to go 10 mile an hour slower than you're expecting because you're just going off the line, railing the motherfucker. You know what I mean? So they had the speed gun out and they kept they did like a little mini drivers meeting after like an hour or so. They're like, all right, this is how fast you're going on this lap, blah, blah, blah. This is where you need to be. They kept giving us pointers on shit like that. And then that, you go back out, drive some more. And then, once you start going faster and, they'll walk up to you and they'll just be like, hey, we saw you were doing this here. Try to do this. This is what you're looking for, blah, blah, blah. There was a couple things I didn't realize I was doing that they walked up. They're like, yo, on entry, you're not keeping your RPMs up. That's I knew to do that. I do that other corners.
Yeah.
It's just on entry, I wasn't doing it. I didn't realize I wasn't doing it.
Yeah.
Just a stupid mistake I was making.
And it's like a sensory overload.
It-
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
managing a lot at
Yeah.
once,
Yeah.
so you might miss something that is obvious to someone who's not dealing with all of that all at once.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
or just like someone who's like not in that moment, where like
Yeah.
they can sit in the passenger seat and they're like, "Oh, you're not doing it,
Right.
Oh, I caught you." Like, and then they bring that up. You
Yeah,
know, 'cause,
exactly.
Like they're an outside eye. Yeah, it's cool.
So like, yeah, it's just little things like that, and then you just get to keep working on your consistency. And there was other, because it was advanced intermediate mix. I had all my safety shit at that point, and then I started getting consistent. I was nailing the entry, and the rest of the track was good. It was just getting the speed and nailing the entry correctly. I was struggling with that, like, because you could do it slower. It was a lot, it was easier. But then
Right.
the more speed you increase, there was just like other things you had to throw in there that I wasn't doing. So they picked up on that, and then I was doing it back to back to back. And then at one point, I was just working on the entry. Like I was running the whole lap, most of the morning, and then like I kept, like, after they clocked our speeds, I saw I wasn't going fast enough, so I was like trying to get faster, and I kept fucking the entry up. I was like, what am I doing? So I was like, fuck this, we're just gonna lap the entry. That's it.
Yeah.
So I would like do the entry, come back to grid, and skip the rest of the track. I started doing that, and then maybe not very shortly after that, they came up to me, saw I had all the safety shit, and they were like, "So how you feeling?" I was like, "Feeling pretty good." He's like, "You want to try following somebody?" I was like, "Sure, let's go."
Yeah.
And then got the hop in line behind the Smoking Cowboys. Shout out. And I did followed them for my first tandem lap at E-Town, and that was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But,
Damn. Yeah, I mean, what is that gotta? That's gotta be crazy.
dude, it was intense. You know what I mean? Because it's
First time.
It's first time. I mean, I had tandem in like at Dover before, like at a parking lot.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But like, you're going a lot slower. It's
Yeah.
It's not nearly the same. You know what I mean? You're on at those speeds. You're just chucking a car into a corner at like 65 mile an hour
Yeah.
with cars in front of you. It's like,
Yeah.
let's
It's a
hope I
little
don't
different.
run into them.
Yeah.
But it was definitely intense. But after you start doing laps, you start getting used to it.
Yeah.
And you're just like, all right, this ain't too bad.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the day, I think the last lap, or last like 2 laps, Petty was out there. He's like, there was 4 of us. He was like, all 4 of you, just go. We're like, okay. So we're just running a 4 car. And then, at the end of that, he bumped me up the A group. He's like, so.
Yeah, that's cool.
That was pretty awesome. So that's why I say, like, definitely go to the clinics.
Yeah, it sounds
at
like
least
it
at
was
Club
a
Loose.
major learning experience.
Yeah, I learned a fuck ton that day. Like, I didn't, again, like, I thought, I didn't know what I was doing wrong. I didn't even think I was doing anything wrong, but apparently I wasn't going fast enough at first.
Yeah.
I thought I was going pretty fast. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You don't realize it until they point it out. So, again, there's so much to gain from going and learning from those guys who've been doing it since, for God knows how, since the start. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just,
I mean, there's always something to be said about like figuring things out for yourself. It's
Right.
like, yeah, that's great. But if someone knows the right way to do something, and they can just tell you,
right.
why not?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
you're,
listen.
you're not better because you're self-taught. Like I hate that.
Right.
You know? It's like, like,
No,
to
in
not,
fact,
to
like-
not accept help.
No, like,
you gotta,
whenever I'm helping like one of my friends out with a fucking carburetor, I'm like, just so you know, like, I'm self-taught. Like, that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
I had to figure this shit out for myself. I could be missing so much.
Right.
But yeah, like, if you have the opportunity to have someone who's gonna be like, here's what you need to do to make this work, to fucking take it.
Right.
Yeah.
No, 100%. I don't know. You hear some guys, they just like, they don't like being like told what to do. It's like they're not coming over on like a power trip and telling you what to do because they're just like, oh, I'm better than you. They want to help you. It's like they don't, like, at the end of the day, they don't give a fuck if you're, you get good or not. But like if you're willing to take in the knowledge and like listen to what they're saying, they're there to help. They'd be happy to help you. You're gonna be an asshole about it. Keep sucking.
Yeah.
Just don't fucking clog the track.
Yeah,
up,
man.
you know?
And you know us when we were growing up, like all of our friends were just such dickheads. Like we were just so like nasty to each other, like in this like fun brotherly kind of way. Where
Right.
we were always
I
teasing.
think that's
so,
just men.
Yeah, well, not
Nah,
actually.
not all.
Not actually, because there's a lot of people that got turned away from, or not turned off from Club Loose because those guys are a little harsh. But like it's the East Coast, like
yeah.
Brooklyn,
East Coast assholes.
Jersey,
What was that I saw? It
kind of
was,
mentality.
The
But-
East Coast people are kind but not nice. West Coast people are nice but not kind. So like the example I saw was like you have a flat tire over like in the west coast. They'll be like, oh, dude, that sucks, and then just leave.
Right.
And then on the East Coast, they'll be like, get the fuck out of here. You don't know how to fix a fucking tire. Let me fix it for you.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a perfect example.
Yeah, because I remember, like, one of the times I was on track, and this was, like, early when... Because I think now, like, I don't know, do they still help a lot on a normal track event? Or is there, like, less help going on?
From my understanding, definitely a C group, there's, I mean...
Tons of help?
There, at least on backtrack, they got
good.
guys watching.
Yeah.
They're walking up to you.
Yeah.
B group, they definitely are walking up to people. Sometimes you might have to ask for it.
Right.
But there was a couple times in B group that they mentioned something to me, and
yeah, and that's cool because like when I was in C group, I remember like it was either Reese or Hector. Somebody like came in my window and they were like, "You need to go fucking faster," and then they just walked away.
Right.
And I was like, okay, like fuck, like yeah, he's right. Okay, yeah, like totally, like I get what he's talking about. Where it wasn't like, what is this guy's problem? Like, and like people get all soft about it. You know what I mean?
Like, okay,
why
faster,
are they yelling at me? Yeah, it's like yes, drill sergeant. Like you're just like fuck, affirmative.
They're abrasive, but I mean they're there to help. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like, but and I always equated it to like they don't have like a fucking ton of time. There's tons of stuff going on.
Right.
There's
and
a
like,
lot of people.
If they want to sit here and have a nice like friendly conversation about like how I'm doing, and
hey
like,
boo, you're doing good.
It's
but
like no,
if
like
you
the
could go
track,
a little faster, that'd be
yeah,
great.
the track is hot, and there's not a whole lot of time.
Right.
We're trying to keep shit moving.
Right.
And like keep people on track. So like no, there's not gonna be like some sidebar conversation, and we're not gonna have it back and forth. It's like no, go fucking faster.
Right.
It's like hey, like
short to
like,
the point.
Like hey, you need to connect here. Like, you're lifting there. Don't lift there. Don't lift to this corner. You see that corner? Don't fucking lift. Go,
Right.
go. And I'm like, okay, and then you get back out there.
Right.
And some people do not take well to that.
Right.
Yeah.
No, definitely not. I mean, it's you hear about it. They're like, I've heard guys, bitch about Club Loose.
Yeah.
You go somewhere else and they bitch about Club Loose. I was like, oh, well, whatever.
Yeah,
You're a
I know.
bitch, but
Yeah.
soft.
Soft.
I mean, I've heard like other arguments too, like because Club Loose has their thing where you start C group, like they don't really make exceptions. Very few exceptions. Like if you're vouched for, like you can come in as A, but like there's I talked to a guy at a track when I went to Capitol Raceway. He had a sweet car, LS swapped, G I think it was, caged everything. But his thing was like, I didn't build this car to go start in C group. I'm like, I get it. But like, you're not going to be in C group very long if you drive.
If you're good,
if
C
you're as
group's
good
like
as
once.
Yeah.
Right. They bump you up pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I have a great example of that. There was one of the events that I was at, there was a red hatch SR. It was like some little built up, had some power, and he was in C group with us, and then was just murdering. And I remember like seeing someone who was on grid, like, holy shit!
Right.
All right, go, and like kind of like not even like look at me, like it was just like go, and I was like, do that, like okay, like you know what I mean, like, and then within like a couple laps, then he just stopped all of us and was like, and then like, he was coming back to grid and he was like, yo, go again, and then just had him go again and go again and go again. He goes, go to B group. It was that fast. It was like he just stopped the grid and just had him do like
fucking formality.
Yeah, 3 laps, and then it was like, get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Like you're fucking this up for them.
Right.
You're gonna make the children feel bad.
Yeah, honestly, they're not gonna hold you down. It's not. That's not how it works. It's like
it's not like it's like no, you have to do 3 events as C group, and then you have to do like 2 events. It's like they're not gonna like make you do like the whole event. Like you'll get bumped immediately.
Right.
And if you feel like you're being held in C group, maybe you just suck.
Yeah. It's an
maybe you suck,
unfortunate
or maybe
piece.
just ask more questions.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, do you see anything I'm doing wrong? It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll find something.
Yes. Yeah, they'd love to let you know.
Yeah. All it takes is a simple question like, hey, do you see anything I'm doing wrong?
Honestly, I'm sure they actually enjoy that because it shows you want to learn.
Right.
Yeah. And they were doing like ride-alongs too. So like if somebody was like fucking up, they're like, "Hey, can you ride with me because I feel like I'm not doing this right." Like,
Right.
yeah, sure. And they hop in.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
sure they still do that.
I'm not 100% sure. I didn't see it in
Maybe
B group
safety.
really, but C group maybe. I don't know. Again,
Well,
I
yeah.
don't see that grid.
I mean, like if you were one of the guys on grid and some guy who's just been fucking up the whole time. It's like, hey, can you ride with me?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little sketch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, like, someone, like, drove John's car, because, like...
Wasn't that first state, or did they drive it at Club Loose as well?
I think it was at Club Loose.
Okay.
Yeah, because John had a lot of car, and they're like, dude, like, what are you doing? And they're like, he's like, what do you mean? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, this is a lot of car. He's like, floor it. Like, what are you doing? He's like, well, I mean, it's kind of crazy. And then the guy, like, they, like, rode with John. They're trying to make him do it. And then, like, John was okay with the guy driving the car. And the guy, like, just whipped his car.
Let me show you how to drive your car.
And I was like, here you go.
Right.
Yeah. But, yeah, dude, because there's so much to it. It does seem like sometimes it's just like, all it is just like, going around. You think you're doing it like you were saying. You think you're doing it right. And then somebody gets in and is like, no.
And they show you how to
Sweetheart.
do it right.
Sweetheart.
Sweetie, you're doing great.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's funny because, like, you can drift and, like, you can kind of link the track, but then, like, you're probably still not doing it right. And then, like, you have somebody, like you said, hops in and shows you how to do it. It's night and day difference. And, like, you can kind of give yourself the illusion, like, oh, I'm linking the track. I'm A group. I'm ready for A group. It's like, bro, you're going fucking slow. You're fucking.
Let me show you A group.
Yeah.
It's not quite that. And, like, even I had that illusion, like, in B group. I was like, I'm ready for this shit. Mm-hmm. And then, like, going to the clinic, I was like, oh, fuck, I'm stupid. Like, I wasn't doing the right shit. Like, now I'm going fast enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm hitting, I'm taking the right line. It's just...
Yeah, you hop in line with, like, established, I guess, or a seasoned A-class driver, and they're like, okay, they're going fast as shit. Like, holy shit. And some of it's the car, like you said. Like, there's only, like, so much track to get up speed and, to regain speed through the corners. So, a lot of it is the car to be able to keep up with a lot of the A-class guys because, it just is what it is. But yeah, like, just keeping, like, the right line and all that stuff, yeah, it's totally different ball game. And actually, I've listened to a couple podcasts with Formula One drivers. I forget who. I don't want to say who, but they just talk about how, like, the progression that went from, like, Pro Spec to, like, to Pro 2, and then getting
Formula 2 to Formula 1.
Yeah, well, yeah, but even that, but, like, just, like, going.
Are you talking Formula 1 or Formula Drift?
Formula Drift?
No,
you said Formula 1.
I said Formula 1.
Yeah,
oh,
fuck.
Formula 1.
Oh, shit.
I'm over here thinking what Pro Spec and Formula 1.
Yeah, no, fuck,
Okay.
no. In Formula Drift, and they're saying, like, going into Pro Spec and then, like, doing really good, and then getting into, like, Pro 2, and then being like, okay, like, this is, like, I'm actually, like, doing really good, and then going to Formula Drift and then being like,
shit.
This is nothing like any, like, thing. There was nothing that could prepare me for this.
Right.
Like, it's a whole nother level of, like, everything that's going on in Formula Drift is not the same in, like, the Pro Series underneath of it. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. You don't really realize it until you're in it, and then you're like, oh, shit, wow,
Yeah.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
But
like,
just
it looks a lot different from the outside.
Yeah, just the evolution of cars and, like, just, like, the way that they're reacting and stuff, and yeah, it's crazy, just, like, and the same thing, like, just the same track and just a totally different feeling from it,
Right.
It's insane. Yeah, I've been kind of, like, looking at, like, some of these, like, pro spec drivers that are getting into it, and I'm like, dude, it's just, I also can't imagine. I don't know how you feel about, like, Formula Drift and all that.
I mean, I think it's cool. I like it. I think it's definitely something you really gotta want to pursue because it takes a lot of money that a lot of people don't have. A lot of time. It's a huge commitment. Like, you have to love the sport and competitiveness, in a certain way, because, like, you can love the sport and go to Club Loose.
Yeah.
You can go, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can go all over different tracks all over the country, grassroots, and just have a good time because you love the sport. You have to really, really have that competitiveness to yourself and, like, really love the competition side of things, which I've never experienced competition yet. I mean, I've helped, it's like pit crew, but in terms of, like, actually drifting and, like, being in the shit, I haven't done it. I mean, I'm down to try, like, an amateur competition, something like Casino Royale, or, maybe if I end up, tracking the vet, maybe doing like Gambler or something. But to sit here and be like, oh yeah, I want to go in a Formula Drift, it's just like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and so like the Gambler stuff too, right? Because the tire size bumps up.
So they have two different classes. So they have unlimited, you run what you brung, or they have 235 class. So
For the Gambler too?
for the Gambler as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So you kind of evens the playing field, but some of the guys running 235 class in their cars and just like, because I've gone to it and watched, man, there's some heavy hitters. Like it ain't an amateur competition.
Yeah.
I mean, you got like Pro 1 and Pro Spec guys doing this shit. You know what I mean? It's there's some
It
serious.
depends on who's going to show up.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, but it's kind of cool because then you get to drive with those drivers and like, yeah, you're probably not going to beat them. You know, it's going to take you.
But
really,
it's an honor to be on track.
Yeah, it's an honor to be on track, and you get to drive with these
This
really
is where,
good
like,
fucking
you
drivers.
cover your car in GoPros, and then you watch back all the footage of them driving in
Right.
front of you, and you go, "How the fuck did they do that?"
Yeah.
But like it gives you that experience to drive with like high level drivers, and you know it can help push you to be a better driver. But yeah, no,
Not for $500, but I don't know about all that.
But
You better have your shit
I don't know,
together
the more
for
you
$500.
the more you talk, the more I'm like on board with making the Corvette a drift car.
Yeah.
I mean, it is something I can keep thinking about. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Corvette for sure is like the final form of like, you know, that's like the chassis that would take you further.
right.
You know, if that's what you wanted, you know. And like we were kind of talking just because like A class wise too, like if you're like trying to hang with the boys out there in A class, like you probably do need a little more horsepower. That's why I brought up the LK or LQ4.
Right.
Yeah. So because that's how you could do it, you know, because like you said, you could just bolt it up and that would be cool. And that gives you like, what's that, like almost 400 horsepower maybe?
Depending on
Three
cam
something?
package.
Yeah,
I mean,
three
if you,
something.
yeah,
But
three
still,
something. If
three
you,
something
yeah.
puts down, dude. That's cool. You know, and the torque, yeah, it's cool.
You know, it would be a good option.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, dude. And have you ever done the Casino Royale? Like, I mean, I've been on the kart track, not doing like the actual Casino Royale.
I drive on the car track now. I still have yet to do that. Still have to drive the stadium. But all things I'd like to try.
I mean, they don't hold it. You can't do like a private day on the
Car track or the
stadium.
yeah, you can.
You can?
He has so I think he releases a schedule every month. And like he'll list in like the schedule, you know, which track it is. I know sometimes he does the kart track. I'm pretty sure that you can do the stadium, or he might time it closer to like FD, where like he starts adding those, you know, beforehand, like having the stadium available.
Yeah.
Because also they do like other events there too, so like it's gotta be available too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
for you to rent out.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure you can do a private day in the stadium. Because I think in his advertisement it says 3 different tracks you can drive.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I mean you could probably just pull it up, but
Yeah, we probably should.
East Coast Drift School. It might be. I don't know if he has a website. It might just be Instagram.
Oh, Instagram.
Yeah, I don't know if that's how I usually just contact them.
What am I looking up?
East Coast Drift School.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
there you
right
go.
there.
So I don't know if it says it in the description.
Is it a website?
Yeah.
Oh, is there? Okay.
Event.
No, that's for Winterfest.
Yeah, I think he probably does just do like just by message on.
Yeah, but he sent
Instagram.
me. You know what? It might have been a flyer he sent me when I initially inquired about the private day.
What is Winterfest?
That was like a Los Goonies event, I believe. They were doing drifting and shit.
Yeah. How was Pocono?
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was definitely different. Super laid back.
Yeah.
It was different because like there wasn't, at least for their parking lot event or their skid pad event, they didn't have like different groups going out. Like it was just hot grid all day except for I think lunchtime. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun, and like I said, super nice on tires.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, yeah. So I mean, so for something like that, if it's like nicer on tires, do you notice like the car like reacting any differently, or
yeah, it was actually kind of weird. It felt like I had more grip.
really, and yet you use less tires?
Yeah, I had to air the tires up higher.
Yeah.
That's
And
interesting.
so, but this was the parking lot event
Yeah,
at Pocono.
yeah. I don't know. It threw me for a loop because I was like, it's a parking lot, and everybody says it's super smooth. So I was like, all right, like I don't need a lot of tire pressure. But I went out there, I was throwing a lot of clutch kicks. I was like, okay, something's up.
Why am I so
Yeah.
grippy? And then your tires just keep going, and you're like,
It just didn't make sense, but I don't
Yeah.
know.
it's
It
that
just
magical
works.
mountain air.
Yeah. Was it
Maybe. Oh, you know what? Maybe being a higher altitude, maybe the car
that's
is slightly
down on
down on
power.
power.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that.
Actually,
That might have been what it is. So it might have been track surface was in fact slippery. It was just less down on power than
that's a
that would make
possibility.
sense. The car is pretty low power as is. So, don't
That
take
sounds
much.
like the magical combination, though.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was the like the track layout? Was it like kind of high speed or is it tighter?
So they had two different setups. They had one with it was a little bit faster, and then the second one was a little bit more. It was like you're like first gear shifting in the second initiating. It was a little tighter, but then they ended up towards the end of the day they connected. There's like a center section, like a break in between the trees, that they opened up and like they connected the two tracks to make one big track, and that was a lot of fun. But it wasn't, I'd say a little more technical, but and then you get a little bit more speed, but it wasn't nothing crazy. It wasn't like a third gear high. You're like maybe top a second.
Yeah.
But
So probably like the same size as Casino Royale.
size wise, yeah, I'd say probably similar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd say the more technical track was probably about the same size, and then you probably had like two Casino Royales like side by side, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, and then I've also seen like the Evergreen thing too. Have you like any interest? I don't know.
Yeah, I'd like to try it at least
Yeah.
once. I've heard mixed things about it. I've heard guys that love it. I've heard guys that going up there and was like, it's not really my thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's another like kind of like a low speed kind of thing. Like they have that like the L course on the side where you kind of build up some speed and then you're just kind of like doing like an L and then going back.
Okay.
Just like it's kind of cool, but yeah, I don't know. It's cheap,
Yeah, it's cheap. It's again not something I turn my eye to. Like it's definitely something I'd like to try. Again, you have the guys that go there, they love it, and then you have some guys that have tried it once and didn't really care for it. So
yeah,
I think it's a case by case basis. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah,
Personally, I feel like there's just so much to like the fun that goes into like the Club Loose stuff, like that track.
Right.
So much better. It's like I know it's a lot more money, but like if you're spending what's like $160 for a day, and like maybe it's $80 for like a kart track kind of style, like just like a skid pad open parking lot kind of style drift. That thing. Well, yes, like that, which is actually at Club Loose, or at
That's
Englishtown
Casino
or so.
Royale.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. Like, I mean, like that's cool too. And I do like the layout. It does look like those guys, they have some fun out there. So like I would be down to try that too. But I just feel like for the money, I don't know, man. Like I just feel like it's not that much more money, and you just get so much more out of like the track that Club Loose has.
Right.
Englishtown. So like I feel like that's kind of where I want to be. I'm not like really that interested in just seat time, and I think like
Now,
once
is
I
that
dip my toe
is
back
that like
in,
you like the flow of E-Town better, or is that just
I think
that's the
I
home
think-
track? That's what you're familiar with.
yeah, I think it's not even that I'm familiar with it. I think that it's just the vibe of actually being on like a road course that like makes it like legit. It just has like so much better feeling. than just like being in a parking lot.
Right.
You know? I mean, how did you feel like being in the parking lot versus like Club Loose?
So I get lost in parking lots.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Because,
man.
you have cones set out and like they have lines drawn, but it's like, it's just, it's all asphalt. Like,
Yeah, you're sitting down there and it's just a sea of cones.
Right.
And you don't see the path until
That's
you're
how
right
I
on top
felt
of
at
it.
First State Drift.
dude, it gets confusing at times, especially at first. Like you end up getting into like figuring it out, but like really like for that kind of event, you should take a sight lap or two just so you can just figure it out, because otherwise you're like, here's the corner. Oh wait, I'm in the third corner now. What? So it gets a little confusing. Like the first time I ran it, I was watching him go. I was like, I got this. So I start going up, I initiate, and then it was that. I was just like, I am on the other side of the track now. This is not where I need to be. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
So they're fun, but again, they get a little confusing. So I've never driven a kart track, but I'm guessing I probably need to take a sight lap or two just for my brain to understand where the boundaries are. Because again, a road course, you have grass, you have walls.
Yeah.
It's very clear where the boundaries are.
Yeah.
Versus just flat asphalt and just sea of cones.
That's kind of the fun part, is like being able to like kind of aim for that boundary.
Right.
You want to be kind of riding that boundary. You want to be, and then Club Loose put in like the little like the boxes on the track, which is like more for the gambler, but also like if you're on track and you can see that box, that's where you want to be.
You shoot for those 100%.
Yeah, right. So like that's what I like. I like being able to like kind of see that boundary, and like kind of aiming for that, and it's such a good feel. And again, like, I'm only going off of doing the one parking lot event that I did with First State Drift, which was sick. I'm glad we have these parking lot events. The more the better. But like, I don't know, just on like the basis of just seat time, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's worth it to me. I'm like, if I'm going, especially like in my shoes, where like I might only be able to do like 2 events. Like in the budget, like it's like, okay, budget time, it's 2 events.
Right.
So it's like, I don't want to go to a parking lot.
Get the most for your money.
Yeah, I'll just go to a parking lot.
Right.
Like, dog.
Parking lots are free.
Yeah. Parking lot. There's a lot of parking lots.
There are a lot of parking lots. And out this way, I'm sure there's some pretty secluded ones.
Yeah. I think it's almost worse to be out in like the boonies and like try to drift. It's fucking too quiet. It's too quiet.
You think it travels too far to sound?
Yeah. I think like you just go out to a little town. You get your allegedly,
of course.
No. This conversation's AI generated.
AI generated conversation. But yeah, I think the boonies is just too quiet. Like because it's not even like
you stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, like someone's gonna call. They're like, "What the fuck's going on out there? Get them fucking dudes." I think he's in that parking lot.
Right.
He's in the church parking
Yeah,
lot. That was always like the McKinnon, like by Nick's house.
Right.
They were like, dude, we have like 20 minutes. We got enough. Remember that guy blocked us in?
Oh my god,
dude.
Fucking goofball. All right, vigilante.
Yeah. Dude, so much hood rat shit. I was just telling Adrian, and we can talk about this because they got caught. So John and Kyle went out on like some like random industrial park, and John wasn't even drifting, and he had just like been like kind of closer to the entrance. So the cop saw him first, pulled up behind him, lights on, hit him with a book full of tickets, and all the meanwhile, like he's handing him tickets, explaining these tickets. Kyle is still in the industrial park doing donuts. Really? And you can hear like like in the background, and then Kyle like just drives past all of them and then gets no tickets. Like, bro, it's like, dude. John always says like he's like, dude, I don't get away with anything.
Right.
Like, he's like, and like Nick Peaceclock would just get away with like murder.
Right.
And like always be like, oh, just get out of here, kid. Crazy.
Yeah, we definitely had a lot of run-ins, a lot of close calls.
Yeah,
Allegedly.
Well, some of them we got caught.
Yeah, you were in the newspaper.
We were in the newspaper.
We
were in the news, dog.
Yeah, that was we were stupid.
Yeah.
It was stupid, man.
Well,
Even like just looking back now, it's like, yeah, that was a dumbass place to pick, but like
Sure, but that's
But it
dad
was.
lore.
I honestly, like,
That
it
is.
was pretty sick.
That's 100%.
It was
it
pretty
was
sick.
sweet, but like to like just sit there, like that should have been like a hit and quit. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, we were there for like almost an hour.
Yeah.
Crazy. It was just preposterous.
It is.
Yeah.
Dude, the nights we were allegedly went out and
Yeah.
we
Yeah, it was
You hit and
industrial
quit,
park
you
to
boom,
industrial
boom, boom,
park. Yeah.
hit the spot.
Here, there.
real quick,
Yeah.
take a lap or two, roll, and then
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
didn't get you caught.
Yeah, you don't go back. Like,
yeah,
we're done.
You're
We're
not
done
on
for the
like
night.
public streets like with traffic and shit. You just
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a way to. Not condoning. Don't go on the street.
These
go
are
on the
not
track.
instructions.
These
Yeah.
are not instructions, but
Yeah.
there's definitely a way to do it a little bit
Yeah.
smarter if you're going to. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
And that concludes the AI generated portion of this video.
Yeah. Well, boys, let's take a quick pee break.
And managed to lock myself out of my truck before I got all my stuff out.
Yeah,
left the keys on the seat.
It's a windy day.
Yeah, I guess in all fairness, I got out, locked the truck, and then the wind. We were just
Yeah.
talking, bullshitting,
Saying,
and then the
literally
wind
just saying hi, and then
and the wind blew the door shut.
yeah.
And then immediately when I heard it shut, I was like, "Oh no!"
Man, I saw that
I don't
happen in
think-
like slow motion. I was just like, "Oh, the
Yeah.
door's closing." Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not
And then
knowing-
you look back and you're like, my
Yep.
keys are in there. The door locked.
Yeah, yeah, and I couldn't help but notice like how well you reacted to just be like, "Oh, this again."
Yeah, it's not my first rodeo, unfortunately.
Yeah, so we MacGyvered your keys out.
Yeah, we were trying to open the back sliding window. We were trying to grab the
So
latch
hard.
with a coat hanger, and then you had the bright idea, like, why aren't we going for the keys?
Yeah, after like 30 minutes of trying, we finally clicked. I was like, "Oh, we could just hook the keys and maybe
Keys
pull them
too.
through the gap."
Yeah,
We hadn't started drinking yet.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I
Yeah.
just,
Yeah, that was,
we're so stuck on
just
our ways.
like, no, we know we're men. We know how to open up a door. We can get a door open. Like, yeah, not thinking like, what's the easiest solution?
Yeah, once we decided to go for the keys, that took all of 2 fucking minutes.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, that
man.
was something.
Yeah, it's something, dude. That's something for sure. Yeah. So, but more to the drifting stuff. So I think we did cover. I feel like most of it. There's like nothing else. I feel like as far as like new drifting stuff. Any new goals? Anything you're trying to do this year differently?
I mean, not necessarily this year, but at some point, I would like to make it out to a drift week. Which, if I do the
shit,
vet, that would be the
son.
perfect car for it because, the Z's not very friendly for
Yeah.
driving around.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, drift,
even if I got
drifting's
it
a big
all,
deal.
yeah.
I mean, you just want to go to like one event. I'm guessing like you
No.
want to like Virginia, right? You want to do the whole week.
I would like to do the whole
shit.
the whole week.
How many tires is that going to be?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's something you plan ahead for. That's not
Yeah.
something you're just like, oh, next month's drift week I'm gonna go to.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you have to apply for it anyways, but
Yeah.
that's besides the point. But like,
Yeah, I mean, I think the few that I've seen, like as far as like video content and stuff, like I think there's a lot of it is like obviously because it's a week long thing. You get a lot of the heavy hitters that get to go and like have the money and like dedicate the time or whatever. But I think like some like just like local homies just end up at the spots. you know?
okay, maybe.
I think it's a little more low key. I think like as a whole though, because of Drift Week, it just brings a lot of like the more like pro level drivers too. But yeah, you're right. I mean, that would be a sick thing to be able to do.
Right.
That's cool. Yeah, I think like outside of like our local spots of like being able to go drift, I've always wanted to do what's the one in December that they always do? Like Drifter
Drifters in December.
Yeah.
I was thinking about going to that this past year. It's just the problem is it's like timing. It's like it's right around the holidays.
Yeah,
and just you
there's
got
a
all this
lot
shit
going
going
on.
on, and it's just
Yeah.
usually work slows down and this and that. It's just it's like a super. It's almost like the American Matsuri. Like it's you know what I mean. It's like, dude, I want to go to it. And like I just need to say I'm going. Like for example, if I want to go this year, I just need to decide I'm going and just plan for it and just block it out and just set money aside for it and just
and then the day before the event scramble.
Exactly.
But you're right. That's the key. Is like setting that cash and that time aside, like ahead of time, and not just being like, oh yeah, I could do that. You know, like not let it be spontaneous.
I mean, you could go for a day. I mean, and just like you know, just like a 1-day event. It's not that far. I think it's only like 2.5 hours for me. 2 hours.
Yeah, it's Summit Point, right?
Yeah, Summit Point, West Virginia, I believe, or Virginia.
I think it is
West Virginia.
Yeah.
I looked it up. I thought it was a lot further. I thought it was like 5-6 hour drive. Yeah. No, it turns out I googled it this past December. I was like,
you're give it a Google. Do just Drifters of December or like just Summit Point Raceway.
I was like, it's not a very far drive.
But I've heard people make that same like that same reference where it's like a Matsuri of like America almost. Like it's like a lot of these drivers, a lot of like hot laps. It's just like a fun time, especially like in December like that, like you said. Like it's just I don't know, it's cool. That's one I've always wanted to go to. It looks like a lot of fun.
No, 100%. And you got like I don't know 4 or 5 tracks you can drive, something like that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You have the entire motorsports park open, and I think
from here it's about 3 hours.
Okay.
That's not bad.
Which isn't the end of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not
It's
bad.
probably the same distance for you.
Yeah, just about. It's probably...
I mean,
it's just slightly...
I'm not going to put that up.
No, it's just... I just have it set for Coatesville.
All right, well...
But, like, from, from Delaware, like, that's not going to make much of a difference.
Here, put my address. Here's my social security in case you need it.
Yeah, but from, like, northern Delaware, that's not going to be much of a difference.
Nah, it's very... But, I mean, even at 3 hours, that's not a terrible drive.
No.
Like, that's very...
Me and some friends drove 4 hours to go look at a car that we ended up not buying up in New York. So
that ain't nothing then. Yeah, no, it's something I've always talked about doing. Is just also another. What another part of it too is in order to do like tandem, you gotta like there's extra safety gear. Like you gotta have a fire suit and all this. So there's even other. I mean, you could just go and not tandem and just like run with what I have set up now, and like what set up like you got. But I want to get the full experience, so it's like it's just I know it's just buying a fire suit. But it's just like one extra thing you think about it at that time. It's like okay, now that's another added cost. Versus if you're more responsible, you'd be like, okay, I'll buy it like way ahead of time and just set aside for it. But, we do everything the night before.
You're not getting a fire suit.
I know. Amazon that bitch.
Yeah, Amazon Prime free next day delivery.
I'll have it there in 2 hours.
Fucking Temu, dude.
But
Temu's got like 3-month fucking.
I know. I'm just
ship times.
But I definitely want to go to that. That sounds like a lot of fun. Dude, can you pull it up? Because like I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, they do. Actually,
I'm pretty sure there's like 5 layouts or 4 or 5 layouts. It's something stupid. It's like it's almost like you don't. It might be Drift Nirvana if
there it is. Yeah.
It's like damn. Like I know it's 2 days.
That's
it's like
fucking Sunday, December 20th. I don't even think they've posted anything about this year's yet.
Yeah, but that's all right. It should still
say. Okay, Summit, Shenandoah, Jefferson, Washington. 4 layouts. So still 4 different. Different tracks. That's pretty sweet. Oh, I guess they have a figure 8.
Wait, are those different tracks or different layouts?
Summit, Shenandoah, I believe it's different.
Yeah,
like you can run, they run all at the same time.
I think Shenandoah. I mean, just going off like how they color coded this, I think Shenandoah is the figure 8 for beginners.
Is it?
Oh yeah, Shenandoah is green. SC figure 8 only beginners.
Okay.
I don't know what they're doing. Oh yeah,
I have seen the Shenandoah figure 8. I've seen people drive on that.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's a banked figure 8.
Is
it's
it
kind of
really?
like the wall.
Okay.
Yeah.
If cars must be rear-wheel drive and two-wheel drive, i.e. all-wheel drive can be converted to rear-wheel drive, a.k.a. the woo clause. What's the story behind that?
I don't know. I would like to know.
Hmm.
I guess
I mean, like
Mr. Woo tried something.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean, like specifically the woo clause.
Yeah, what is the woo clause?
Who is Woo?
Who is Woo? Wu Tang?
Mate.
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with.
Okay, but so
Yeah.
it's maybe not 5, but they got a few different tracks, and
It's
I
an
believe they're
experience.
all running at the same time because it's such a massive
Yeah.
facility. They might all be connected, but like it's or it might be separate tracks, like completely
Yeah. So you can
Separate.
kind of bop around. Yeah, it definitely seems like an experience, man.
Yeah,
it's
no,
cool.
it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's anything else in the country that's similar to.
Yeah, I mean,
that.
there certainly is like the Grid Life.
Yeah, you
They
do have
hit a
Grid
lot
Life.
of those big tracks. I know there's like one in like I forget what the one in Connecticut is that like is always it's like a coveted track. They do a lot of road racing. They only drift it for
Lime Rock?
Lime Rock, yeah, and that's one that like is being heavily encroached by the neighbors. You know, and like so people always
They're
like,
like
they're,
the
it's a
bitch.
fight.
Lime Rock's getting like hit with that
It's
shit.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know like Laguna Seca was fighting that shit off.
yeah, yeah.
It's
And then
unfortunate.
Irwindale closing. That's crazy.
Irwindale's closing.
Yeah, it's closed.
It's closed.
Like they knocked.
Oh my
they're
God.
They've already, like-
demolishing the building right
Yeah.
now where it already is.
Yeah.
I fucking hate people.
Yeah.
Like, how do you move near a racetrack and then complain about the noise?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's people are entitled and they don't give a fuck. It's just I don't know.
I know it's crazy, man.
It sucks.
Wild shit.
Well, you know what? I think we just need to have a alleged protest where we just fuck up the streets.
Yeah.
You close all the tracks.
Yeah. I mean that's true. I mean I can guarantee you that at a certain point, you know, they could get to that. You know, where they
Yeah,
all close and they're
eventually.
like, okay, well, this is what we had to do. You know, this is what you guys did. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of people that would like fight back. They'd be like, we're in the streets now. You know, a lot of people are going to get arrested. Allegedly. But a lot of people would get arrested, but like, you know, we'd be making a stand. If it was a
Just
stand
group
up
us
against
in
the
with
man.
the takeover kids.
Fuck. No. Yeah.
I don't drive a Hellcat. I'm not a takeover kid.
I have a 350Z, so I could fit in.
Getting close.
You know what's weird? It's not even the 350Zs anymore. It's the G35.
I guess it is the G35s mostly, but
Yeah, a lot of things
it's a
end up,
VQ car. It's
Yeah.
close enough.
a lot
The
of
sound
people
of trumpets.
a lot of people end up in the pits.
Yeah.
But I also just speaking of Drift Week and you know what that would entail. I did kind of want to ask too. I know it's hard to quantify, but what is like the budget? You know, no like dollar figures, but I'm saying like how do you like parcel out money for like tires or like justifying, you know, making upgrades, or is it like you just kind of is it like, hey, there's cash in the bank account, bills are paid, I'm gonna buy this, or like do you have a thought process?
It's mostly stems from like flipping things or like side work.
Yeah, so
That's-
you go with like if I make money, I can spend money. Gotcha.
Pretty much. I mean, like if it was just my full-time job, I'd maybe go like once a year, if that.
Yeah.
But to be able to do it more, I had to get more creative with how I financed it, and it's whether it's again just buying and selling shit, parts, whatever it may be, a vehicle. Or working, extra hours, part-time job, like whatever it may be. Yeah, there's
Dumpsters also shout
Yeah.
out if you need a dumpster.
absolutely
Hit up your boy.
Hit me up if you need a dumpster. I got you. No, whether it's that or it's just you got to get creative with it in
Yeah.
order to if
Or,
you
you just get one of those jobs that pays buku money for
Yeah.
like sending 5 emails a day.
still haven't found that one yet.
yeah. Why don't you just do that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sign me up. Where do I sign? But no. I mean, it's just again, you just gotta get creative with it, and there's not like one way or another. It's kind of always figuring out. It's like, all right, I want to hit this event. All right, we're gonna make it work. If not, okay, how do we make it work?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Credit cards.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I do not credit card my fun. It's just
Yeah.
I know some people do, and I'm not knocking it. To each his own, but that's not the way I was.
Now, there's
I'm
a way
trying
to do
go
it
about
responsibly, and credit cards make it really easy to not do that.
Yeah, exactly. It's just I don't know. It's a tempting thing, but it's just like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna put myself in debt to have fun. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
or at least fund my hobby that I do more often. It's like, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, because I can understand, credit card. If you want to put a vacation or something on it, pay it off, whatever. But like, I'm not gonna do that every year for drifting. It's like,
Right. Yeah.
I have to get creative with it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and because I asked Chris, I don't know if you saw Chris's podcast.
I did.
Yeah, so like I asked him a similar question. I'm like, how do you budget for this? He's like, you just spend every red cent you've ever fucking made in your entire life, and you spend it all on that, and then you just try to like figure it out after.
Right.
And it's like, oh fuck, it's just like that, and like.
There's no secret. We're all fucking struggling.
Yeah, no, it is, and it's like, dude, it's I'd be driving a lot more if I could, but I'm just not in the place I can.
Yeah,
and
a lot more is.
Have you
crazy.
tried buying lottery tickets?
Well, so like, but you do drive a lot, like for albeit, just as like what I would consider like as like a normal guy, unsponsored, like just I would say regular job, like you don't have like some kind of like a tech industry job, you don't work in pharmaceuticals, like you're not making tons of money, so like you're a normal guy, you just make a good living, and you're like you said, you're making it work, and like for that, I mean, how many events did you do last year?
I probably did 6 or 7.
That's pretty good, dude.
No, that's definitely. I'm not complaining. Like to me as a driver, I want to drive every event.
Yeah.
I'll drive every weekend if I can.
Yeah.
But no, 6 or 7 for a year is fantastic. That's a phenomenal amount. I could be happy with just that.
Yeah.
There's always you want more. You know what I mean?
Of course.
But
Nobody gets tired of this shit.
It is a lot. And even if I could only do 2 or 3, I mean, I'd still I'll take that and run with it. You know what I mean? You just get whatever you can get and make it work, and just smile while you're doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's
and if you can't afford all the tires, maybe road racing is for you. Because Buckley said a set of tires lasted him like a season.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like that one can get expensive because, like, if you fuck up and you hit like barriers and shit, that's like
you can
more
hit
than
barriers while drifting.
They don't charge you for it.
Yeah,
that's the difference with like some tracks. Like I've heard like $800 for like those tire stacks. It's like what?
So they're actually
$800 for a fucking tire stack. I'll give you tires. I'll paint them. I'll do whatever you need. Like
So those tracks that you're talking about, like they are like coveted tracks, and like
Watkins Glen, which I know Buckley's run on.
Yeah, so those tracks, you're right, man, because like I don't know what the like true reason why they have to like charge that much. Probably because a lot of people do actually go off, which is like surprising, right? Because you'd think like drifting,
Not really.
that happens like so much more, but like I think like probably like maybe a handful of times out of the year, maybe like 2, 3, that like someone goes into the tire wall on the straight, right? Like it's not that often. Would you say?
I mean, it's only, I'd say it's more than 2 or 3 times a year. It definitely happens. I'd say you're probably at least once an event somebody ends up in a tire wall. But
okay, well,
I mean, if you're going hard and like it just snaps the other way, like I've done it a couple times. I did it twice one weekend.
Yeah. All right, I'm wrong. I'm
That's
sorry.
what I'm saying. Like it's not.
So then maybe like what the angle is with drifting is that like they know that this is part of the game, you know. Whereas in like if you go off on a road race, it's like, well, you're fucking up, or you're hot dogging it, or you're not paying attention, and like you need to take it more serious. So they have to put like a financial like incentive for you to not fuck up. Maybe that's what
I guess, but it's just like,
or maybe they're just greedy and they're just like, well, if you go off,
I don't know, because it's like you watch racing and like there's always crashes and people going off and shit.
True.
It's like, okay, I understand you're doing a track day. It's not quite the same, but it's like if I'm out on track, I want to drive as good as possible and push the motherfucker to the limit.
Yeah.
Like now you're gonna incentivize me not to do that. Like that's now in the back of my head. Oh, I gotta make sure I don't, clear out my bank account to fix your fucking, your shit. I'm not knocking it. I'm definitely gonna do like track days and road racing. At some point, I would like to try it, but that is an aspect that comes with it. Like you say, it's cheaper, but like. Yeah, maybe
If you don't fuck up.
If you don't fuck up, but guess what? That's racing. You fuck up.
Yeah, and
that's a
going
skill
to happen.
issue.
It's not
Yeah.
if, it's when. Unless
Yeah.
if you're not fucking up, you're probably not trying hard enough. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're not pushing it to the limit.
Yeah.
You got to try to find that limit
Yeah.
and figure out where it is, and that limit's constantly changing because parts are wearing out, tires
Yeah.
are wearing out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
We
mean?
gotta ask Buckley about that when he's back.
Yeah, I know, and he's coming back on soon.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it's because like I said, if you're not like pushing yourself and like, but you're also having fun, then great, you know. But like for us, we're like, well, that's
Faster, more,
more,
better.
right.
How do you and it's not up to you if like oh, don't fuck up. It's like, no, man, that's gonna happen.
Hey,
So,
it's nature of the beast. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. That sounds like a skill issue to me.
yeah.
Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe I just suck. I don't know. But in my dude, I mean, you watch F1. How many on that first corner? How many times is there a fucking wreck?
Yeah.
It's like almost
Oh,
every race. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then
Turn one's
and
always
that's
a bitch.
that is the pinnacle of racing is Formula One, right? I mean,
Yeah.
what?
I think there's a track. I forget where it is. It's either in Atlanta or maybe it was Texas. But I just watched it on a Drift Week. I was watching Chelsea Denofa's video. He was at Drift Week last year, and they were like a smaller, like a little bit more technical kind of track. It was pretty green, so I don't think it was Texas. Maybe it was Atlanta. I'm so bad with tracks.
Right.
But either way, so the idea was that like if you go off track and go into the grass, then you're out for 10 minutes. And if you do it again, then you're out for like 2 hours. And then if you do it the third time, it was like $100 or something
Really?
like that. And then if you hit a Jersey barrier, then it was $1,000.
Really?
Yeah.
This is in
And-
Texas, you said? Or
I hate that I can't.
It was on one of the tracks. Yeah.
okay, it
Yeah.
tracks somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were drifting, you said?
Yeah.
That's
As a matter of
terrific.
fact, I mean, like, fuck it. We're at the end of the podcast. We can kind of do whatever we want now. No one's. If you made it this far and you're gonna bitch about us just googling stuff, then fuck off.
What am I?
Give it a
Googling?
goog, JMO.
Give it a goog, JMO. Go to YouTube, and then we're gonna go to Chelsea Denofa. He's got an Instagram. Nova. So it was pretty recent. Let's see here. Yeah, I think. Yep, it's that video. Oh, you didn't do it in Mozilla, so we don't have an ad blocker.
That's fine.
So
Do they
here,
only
let me
copyright
get
you for
the-
sound or video too?
I don't know.
We don't know yet.
We're not big enough for that to matter.
I got can I have the mouse real quick? I'll find the part. We did get I think we almost got a copyright strike because I accidentally like re-uploaded a oh, this isn't it.
No.
Here, I'll find it. I uploaded a reel and I didn't realize that it was it had music to it because like you can do it on Instagram and it's fine.
Right.
But then I uploaded it on here and then damn, this isn't it either. Well, oh, this got to be it. Yeah, this is it. Drift Week. Does it say in here where he was?
They probably say it like at the beginning of the video. Probably when he's sitting there. yapping.
guys? We're here at.
Look at that.
Oh, probably right here.
Also,
MSR.
Where is MSR? What is
And there it
format?
is, MSR. But there's a spot like before they go. Oh wait, this
I
isn't.
like these.
I think this isn't the video.
Jesus.
I told you this was going to take some time. And now,
Are these supposed to be coasters?
Yes, they are coasters.
Okay.
Feel free to use them.
Houston
It was
is where MSR is.
These are
yeah.
If
like
that's
these.
it.
Oh, you got more over there. You
Um,
gotta get the WeatherTech ones.
The weather tech.
yeah. Yeah, I think this is it. That looks more like the track that they were at. So maybe they did fix it. I don't know. I just be putting YouTube videos on and then I'm just like listening. Oh, I think this is it. Wait, because she explains they're like, because she actually was the only one that listened.
Okay.
I may
Is that one of the
what?
RTR cars?
We should probably just wrap this
Yeah,
up.
let's
Before we fucking dig into
let's wrap this up. I don't know. Some tracks have it. Some tracks don't. Like, you know, they don't make
Don't
it
crash on
pay.
track. How about that?
Yeah, or just know that it's going to cost you money if you do crash at a track.
Right.
You know, go have fun. Bring your checkbook. So, I don't know.
But yeah, on the like road racing thing, like, so your friend Buckley, is he just doing like track days, or is he like actually in the racing
He's just doing
series?
track days.
Okay, because I know like in terms of like, they're like drifting is like in terms of like racing, like if you want to get into drifting outside of FD, like on like a lower level, it is one of the lower cost motorsports. Because some of these motorsports are just like insane amounts to get into. Like I guess more if you're racing. I've never looked into just track days. I guess that's maybe similar to. I mean, what's it called? Like SCCA track day. Like what? Can we look that up and see like what that costs?
Oh, sorry. I have the mouse.
Well, I mean, what was?
I'm
the one
curious
that
because
Buckley
like
does?
it's like
NASA.
or NASA.
Yeah.
Because like it's like $160 to go drifting, and you can go get used tires that you got for free if you go talk to tire shops and shit like that.
Right,
And you got your gas, $160,
Motorsports.
assuming you already have the car.
Yeah.
Where is this at? Arizona region. All right, let's see if we can find something.
Jersey,
closer.
NGMP maybe, Mid Atlantic.
Mid Atlantic, VIR. I think he's
VIR,
gone
sure.
down to there.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
How much? We looked this up on his podcast, but I can't
Did you?
fucking
Yeah.
remember. I don't know. I see a number right there, $199.
Okay, so similar costs.
Yeah, you can also like,
Oh,
what is
woo.
this?
Racing, driving class, instructor clinic.
Open track, $430.
Test and
So
tune.
it's if you're not buying new tires, technically it's more expensive.
Yeah.
If you're just doing an open track day, it's $160 at Club Loose.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go to other tracks and it's even cheaper. I mean, you
Yeah.
can go to Capitol. I've seen Capitol Raceway. It's a newer one down in Maryland.
Well, then, that's
I've seen them do
transponder
as
rentals.
cheap as like $20 entry fees. Like,
oh boy,
and
that's
like
trouble.
it is
trouble.
now.
I found a 20 on the street.
Now they also that might have been like one of because they do like open pit things like for the takeover kids.
Oh,
So
no.
it's a track, but also
We talked about that.
I mean, it's good. It's good.
No,
I mean,
whatever.
I would rather them be able to do
be
that
at a track versus on the street.
Yeah, and make
I'd
it a
rather-
legitimate thing and not make it like a bad thing for car guys.
Right.
You know?
But again, I don't know if that's those $20 days if that's like
Yeah.
but regardless, I think their regular normal ones is like $80, and like there's
Yeah.
plenty of events for $80. So I'm not knocking like circuit racing. Definitely want to try it. Definitely
Yeah.
want it. But like people always say, oh, drifting so expensive. Like you can do it in a way that's cheaper than just open
I
track
think the
day.
problem is any kind of car, fucking anything, is expensive.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Motorsport,
Yeah.
you're spending money. It's
Yeah.
Even
just
if you're not getting like, I just look at them as a hobby. I like fucking with cars and buying and making
just owning cars.
so much fucking money.
Even if you don't like them, you just got to drive them. They cost you fucking
Yeah.
money,
Yeah,
a lot of
dude.
money.
You ever,
Especially if you
you
can't
ever had to
work on them
replace all
yourself.
4 tires?
And
Dude,
on that
it's
bombshell.
insane.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a ton of money, dude, for sure. Either way, and you were saying that the set of tires that you're doing was like 60s, I mean, maybe $70.
So $63. I've finally found a website that I can get them like
And like shipped.
to my door. Like I have
So
a
we're talking,
wholesale
like,
account with a
maybe-
tire company, but I can't get good. I can't get drifting tires cheap enough through that. Like tires that would be good for drifting. Their cheapest tire D-Lams in like a lap. So I can get those for like $50 a tire, but I'll spend $13 more if it actually lasts.
To get you like
what I mean?
4 laps.
So
5
we're
laps.
saying
Right.
so we're saying like just under like $300 will get you 4 tires, and that's probably what you're using.
like
on a
$240
day.
usually.
So 250.
250.
Yeah. Okay.
So 250, and if you're not, if you're not insane on the car, if you just like, especially starting out, you're not going to be a ripper and like just blow through tires. Like 4 will probably last you a weekend.
Yeah.
Like a 2-day event, honestly.
Oh, you think it'll be 2 days?
Potentially, if you're not a ripper, like if you start getting the flow of things, you're probably going to need more. But
Yeah.
I mean, like with tire management, if you're not going out there blowing off the tires, if you're using the water pit, you're flipping your tires. You're just there's certain things you can do to help manage.
Yeah.
They can last. I mean, there's
Because like I don't know, personally to me, like if it's $250 for tires, $160 for the event, like and then we'll throw like $100 in gas for the truck,
gas
and,
tolls.
Yeah, gas tolls for the truck and all that, and then like $100 on food. Like, all right, you're looking at like a $500 weekend.
Yeah.
Call it $600. But like again, like you were saying, like if that's like a couple weekends out of the year, where like the entry to this was $400.
For that
and like,
one event.
and you're not there yet.
We're gonna have to talk to Buckley about like what he ends up.
Yeah,
like,
I would love to.
'cause
Yeah,
he's actually in it.
Yeah, I
Right.
forget if we actually did. I might even just like re-listen to that podcast just because I don't know if he actually broke it down. But when he comes back, well, for sure, I'd love to break it down again. And he's actually had some track issues this time. We saw like over last year. Yeah, he went to a few events and had some like.
He's also running a new car this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm curious, but like based off just looking from the outside, it's just like, yeah, you're not buying the tires every event. You're spending some money on tires because you're not going buying the $60 tires to go on the track. You're probably buying, I don't know, or 888s or something decent that's got really good grip, right?
Yeah.
And then your entry costs $400. I guess if you're buying new tires, like if you break it down, it depends on how you look at it. You know what I mean? But also where I came from, like with drifting, is like I was using free tires, so it's like $160, gas in the truck.
that was your whole
weekend.
weekend.
That was my whole weekend, so it was affordable. So that's why I like drifting, because you can kind of tailor it to
Your budget.
your budget
Yeah.
and still get into it. Versus like there's a set kind of. I feel like there's more of a.
There's a floor.
There's a floor with like this. There's expectations. Like, okay, you can't come out with this absolute pile of shit. Like, it's got to be decent.
Yeah, even like the basement like level for racing, the 24-hour of lemons, if you know what that is.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Like they say $500 cars,
My
but that
ass.
excludes all of
Isn't
the
it like
safety
10
shit.
grand to really get into it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Minimum.
for all the safety shit. So like,
Right.
and then drifting, like you can roll up in your rear-wheel drive. Maybe you had a buddy booger weld the diff together.
Right. Exactly. Like, you don't need at least for like, a beginner group, C group, you don't need coilovers. You should, it helps,
Yeah.
but like, you don't need all these things, and you can use whatever tires you want.
Yeah. I mean, I would argue you probably do need coils.
I'm
Yeah.
not saying it's like a requirement or anything.
You're
Like,
not
I don't
going to
know
fail tech for it.
You're not going to fail tech as long as you got a fire
right.
extinguisher.
Yeah.
You have a helmet.
Yeah.
That's, and you're not leaking shit, and you have the right fuel lines, whatever this and that.
Yeah.
Battery tie down. It's not overly
complicated.
It's not very strict
Yeah.
on what you need. Like, yes,
Right.
it's strict. It keeps you safe, but it's nothing crazy.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you're not pushing it as hard as a road course. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Most people, like you said, are struggling to go fast enough.
Right.
Yeah, and people will love to argue that like, we're pushing these cars on the drift track just as hard as, it's like, well, okay. I don't know. I mean, like I would say like if you got to like FD level, there's a better comparison. There's a better argument there, because those cars
Or
are
even just
built-
like getting up into A class.
Yeah.
A and B class. Like that's where you're like, okay, we're moving quicker. We should be
but
safe.
still, even the force, like you're gripped up, but you're spinning. Like you are out of grip.
Yeah,
you know?
I guess you're not
It's
feeling
a
it.
different,
getting the same
different
G-force.
form of grip. It's it's affecting the car differently.
So like the true force is coming from like a road course, you know, like actual grip on it. So yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I feel like, you know, at least I don't know. We should talk.
It's
I feel
tough.
like from like I was gonna say, because at least from
It's
like
tough.
a weekend warrior aspect, it's probably not that bad.
No, probably not. I'm not sitting here saying that like
This is unaffordable.
This is unaffordable. But like people always say, you know, drifting is like so expensive, blah blah blah. You're better off like on road racing. It's like, well, you're spending a decent chunk to do this, right? Just to go out and do this.
Although if you bring in like those parking lot autocross, then that's a whole different.
Oh yeah, autocross. You can go do that for next to nothing.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. That takes the crown on level
The
cheapness.
cheap like entry level. I want to dip my toe into
Right.
motorsports.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Back from the pee break. So what I was just saying. Well, I remember like the first moment of like realizing like I needed to get back into cars, and it was really like from the podcast.
From like, it was Buckley's podcast.
It was actually Buckley's podcast where like I just brought up drifting and cars in general.
Right.
Yeah, and like just.
And let that fire under your ass again.
Dude,
I watched that podcast. I remember that you did get. You could just see it in your eyes. Your eyes lit up. You're like,
about
cars.
Yeah, dude. You know, and so, you know, in between the time that I stopped drifting, obviously, like, you know, not being as financially well and like trying to figure out like, you know,
buying a house,
career path, right? And then
Life.
and I knew that I had to buy a house. Yeah. I knew that like buying a house was important, you know, and I still had cool cars at that time. You know, I had like the BMW and like I had like a big lift truck and like, so I still felt cool. You know, I had that, you know what I mean? But you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I'm not like, oh, it was so cool, but like, it just felt like I was still in like a part of the community, you know, where I didn't ever feel like I truly left it.
Right.
And then once I bought the house, I had to sell everything. And like, just to like finance buying all the new stuff that we needed. We came here with nothing. So
for a while, you were rocking like the work van, and then Holly had a Nissan Altima.
Yeah, an Altima, dude. We were trucking it. So, but yeah. So anyway, but in between that time, like, you know, I tried to pick up like sports. You know, I tried to get like really into football, and then I was like, and then like I tried to get into like hunting, and like that was like kind of like my thing. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna try hunting, and like. And I'm not saying that either of those things were bad, but like I just never was like truly enthusiastic.
Right.
Where I was like
as passionate. You weren't as passionate about it.
Yeah. Like, and like, it wasn't like it was even like, and like, you know, hard for me to watch into this stuff. Like I was dragging myself through it necessarily. I just like wasn't like uncontrollably passionate where like my
you
brain's
weren't up
just
at night
thinking
thinking about like fantasy football.
Right, exactly. I
Right.
couldn't get hooked on it.
Just
And then
24/7, just drifting cars on your mind now, right?
Now it is. Like now it's just like back in my head and it's all I think about. Like, it's literally all I think about. You know, it's just this like new or just renewed obsession, you know?
Right.
And, you know, luckily now I'm a lot smarter and I'm not going to like, you know, throw my wallet into it completely or my whole life into it.
Right.
But like, you know, it's something that I want to get back
you
into.
got an
And, like,
S14.
yeah, but it's just such a good feeling to like have that, like, because like not everybody gets to have a thing. I mean, I think everybody does find a thing, you know, that they like, whether it's like fitness or if it is football or if it is hunting. They kind of just like throw themselves into it. Like with the summertime, if you're hunting, you're scouting different spots, or like, you know, if it's fitness, like you're trying new things with like, you know, we're just staying dedicated to it, you know, but like. Or football, you're keeping up the preseason, keeping up with college. You know, it's exciting.
Seeing who's going into the draft and all that.
Yeah, you know, it's all year long, and like you just like you consume yourself in it. And
Right.
Like this, I was like, I just slurped right back into it.
Yeah,
I'm
you
like,
didn't even have to
I'm
try.
back.
Yeah, you had to
Dude.
try for hunting, try for football. This you didn't even have to try.
No,
you just
man,
fell
not at
into
all.
it.
It's just, and it's my thing. And like even like this road course stuff, like I'm like trying to look into it. I'm like, that's fucking, I don't know.
See,
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just like, I'm not drawn to it. Like I'm drifting.
I want to do it because I want to improve as a driver overall
Sure.
and just like learn that aspect of it, and just I think it can help just overall, because like with drifting going into it, I think it'll help me like in every situations. Like now I know what to fucking do.
Who was that?
Let's
What
stay
was
in
one of
it.
your
Right.
friends
Counter
that,
steer.
Yeah.
I think it was one of your friends that was like, he was driving, you know, grip course, and he was like, yeah, and like anytime the car kicked out, like I know what's on the other side of that like demon. Like,
Oh, right. Yeah.
who
yeah.
was that? Who was that?
It might have been.
Newton,
It was
maybe?
probably John.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was only like
John,
road racing guy I've had on.
Yeah, because he has that. He worked at that shop where like
Yeah,
they were setting
Bavarian.
up the
Yeah.
BREs and
Yeah.
all that. Yeah, and he was like, yeah, once the car like lets go, everyone else is like, whoa, whoa, and he's like, I know what that is. I've been there.
Throttle, steer.
It
That's
doesn't
fine. It ain't
scare or
nothing.
startle them. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I think, and that's a good point, Julian, because I think like if I was at your point with like how much drifting that you've done, I think I would like kind of start looking over the horizon and just being like, well, what else can I do? Like, not like you're done with drifting, but it's like, how can I like do some more? You know? Whereas like certainly what's always been on my plate from like the 1 year of like doing literally it was just 1 year. We did one season, and then I like
only one season.
And then well after
Damn
that
it,
season, after like that next season, I was all out of cash. And then because I literally I had some savings, and then I did like the flip and just kind of making it work. And then I just never recouped the funds. And then like first state drift came around. It was $50, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll go." And I drove. And I cracked my manifold. And then I drove home, and I was like, "I'm in a bad spot. Like I have to go to work in this." Like, dude, I had to go to work in that.
And I remember that your S14 had this weird issue where like every third day would blow its fucking charge piping off.
Yeah,
that was clockwork.
Yeah, I was on the white car. We Nick fixed it. So
didn't he weld just like a lip?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I thought
it was
just a bead roll.
Yeah. Well, I know, and it was just like it was cheap piping that like wasn't bead rolled. So like we don't have a bead roller, so like he just welded a bead onto it, and then it held.
It works.
It works, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. You were like, yeah, literally every third day it'd be like, it's Thursday. It's gonna happen today, isn't it?
Yeah, bro. And like the first time that it happened, I mean, and I'm still in like no crazy mechanic, but like with the first time, it was my first turbo car that barely knew what the intercooler piping was even doing. Like in my head, like if you were like, what's your intercooler piping doing right now? I'd be like, oh, I actually kind of forget. I had to really think about it. Like, you know, I was not good with cars.
Right.
So like, I remember I pulled out onto the highway and like gave it a rip, and then it just fell on its face. And I look in the mirror and it's just black smoke. And I'm like, oh great, I had this car for 2 weeks and it blew the fuck up. I'm like, God damn it! Like, what the hell? And that's all. It's just the charge pipe on the intake blew off. So like now, it's not getting nearly like
as much air, and it's just dumping fuel, expecting this fucking boost to roll on. Yeah, it just never comes.
Yeah,
right.
So luckily after looking at it, I was like, oh, I just got to put this pipe back on. And I put it back on, and it actually started. And I was like, oh, thank God, and it was fine.
And then 3 days later,
yeah, then another day, and then I met Nick Peaceclock. Shout out to Nick. Yeah, crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff, man. What would we have done? I mean, let's be honest. What would we have done without Nick? Nick got us in and out of so much shit.
Dude, God bless him. Thank you so much, Nick. Shout out, Nick. Yeah, he saved us a lot on everything. It wasn't just, drift cars. Is everything.
Yeah.
It's just
even
like the Mustang. After I put the supercharger on it, the oil return to the oil pan started leaking because it was welded in. And I was like, "Hey Nick, you want to fix this weld for me, please? Thank you." And like I noticed, I think I noticed it at his house. He's like, "Yeah, just jack it up. I got it." He fucking fixed it right there.
Yeah, dude. Like none of us were good with wires, so like anytime it came to like wiring something up, we were like, "Yo, Newton," which is like the craziest thing too, because he's colorblind. Right. So it was like, yeah, this guy's gonna
put him on blast.
Dude, I love putting him on blast. I think I put him on blast on the podcast.
You know what? You might have.
I might have.
But
yeah, I mean, but that's like, I mean, honestly, it's a little bit of a flex. I mean, like I don't know if he's nervous. Fuck him. I don't know if he's nervous about it.
Fuck John.
Yeah, dude. John talks so much.
Bitch.
God bless John. We get one thing that we get to talk shit on John. He would, if I was colorblind, he would never let me forget it.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah. He's a fucking asshole.
Yeah. Love you, John.
God bless John. Yeah, he's a fucking asshole.
Yeah. Nah, we love you, bud.
Seriously, like he helped me wire up so much stuff on like even because like I thought taking the SR20 out of my S13 and plopping it into the S14 was like no big deal. I was like, it's already in there, but harness is different, all that stuff, and Newton was a huge part of that.
Right.
And like he almost had the harness put together, and then there's just too much wire that had to be extended and like moved from like the other harness, and then I think because the harness that I had didn't match up with the body harness on the car. So I ended up buying a wiring specialties harness for it to make it all work. But still, like John was like, cool, yeah, I got this. Which is like, and again, I didn't even know back then he was colorblind. He didn't let any of us know, you know.
You didn't
but
let that one slip out yet.
Yeah, dude. And like, what's so crazy is that he's such a good mechanic and like so good with electrical stuff. And when it comes to like car wires, they're just bunched together, and like that's the only time that he has trouble. Like he's not like actually colorblind,
Right?
But like if you put like wiring harness together that are all different colors, he just kind of like mixes them up, and he has to like spread them out, and then he can see them.
Right.
That's all. He's not actually colorblind.
Right.
But fuck
Just
John.
a touch of it. Yeah,
Well, I love him. Yeah, but yeah, man. All of our friends. I mean, like just making that stuff happen. I can only imagine, like, we could, like, film half of the stuff that we did back then. I mean, like, I always think about, like, Nick doing his cage, you know?
Right.
And, like, figuring out how to bend and, like, all the metal that he, like, wasted. Because, like, because when you're bending, like, how much
You're just trying
metal...
to figure out, like, where's this
lose.
vertical going to end after I bend it? And then you get it wrong. And now you have to fucking do it again.
Yeah, exactly.
See,
and then even just being off, like, just so slightly where, like, the bends are supposed to go down and then kind of follow the A-pillar, and then this one just kind of like, this one goes down and this one goes whoop. And he's like, there's no unbending that.
Nope.
Like, it's trash now. It's crazy. So like just being able to like look back at all that.
or
like,
if we go back further than that, because, you know, I moved away, and then that's about when you got into 240s and fucking drifting. So I miss all of that. But, like, we go back to before that, and, like, David's doing an engine swap before cruise weekend, like the night before.
Hagerman.
Yeah, Hagerman. Yeah, he knows Dave. Yeah.
Like
crazy.
We were at Fody's garage like 3 nights in a row, pulling like all-nighters, trying to figure out how to shove this engine into this Civic, and this is like the first engine swap for half of us.
Right.
Yeah. And no new clutch. And I remember, like, I was with him for that, and I rode down with him, and every point that he got, every chance that he had, just like clutch drop, just doing burnouts. And literally, like, we almost didn't make it home because he blew the clutch.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's like we did this engine swap, and we were like, clutch? And he's like, no, I don't have one. Like, we're like, okay.
It was good when it was pulled out of the car.
Yeah.
It's probably
Should be good to go
now.
back in.
Yeah, well, it wasn't when he got home, because that was a wild weekend.
Well, that's the thing. He bought that engine off of Furman. That clutch was already abused.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it should be good. Like, do you know who you bought this from, right?
Yeah, it's not good.
Love you, Furman.
Yeah, Furman's another one. Crazy, dude. He's still out here doing wild shit.
Yeah, he's got an all-wheel drive Civic SI.
Does he really?
Yeah,
that he's been sitting on for years now, and he's finally putting it back together.
No
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. I know, we didn't get enough out of Furman when he came on. There was, like, too much for us to just catch up on, where we didn't get to, like, pry all of the fun out of him.
Yeah,
Just tons.
he had this great habit of strapping a turbo to his Honda and then blowing it up and then materializing a new engine out of nowhere. So that
I
weekend
remember
we'd
it was
be
like
swapping.
every week he was like blowing up his
Yeah,
his
it was
Honda,
like a month and a half straight. We're just like, all right, we're doing another engine swap this weekend. I'll give you a ride to work for the rest of the week, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. We're pretty sure that he's at least partly responsible for, like, the
shortage of B-Series engines now.
Like, it's
He
his
cornered the market.
He ruined the market.
What did he say? He's gone through like 70 or 80 engines or something.
He's like over my time.
That
He's like,
much? Jeez.
yeah.
7. Oh my lord.
Yeah.
Was
That
it
is
7 or was it
something.
40?
I think actually
he said
no.
40.
Now I hear like 70. No, I think he's like 30. He's got
Still,
this-
that's so
That's still a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, just
And it's
from
just a
being
street car, right? It
just from
doesn't
being
race it.
just
Yeah,
from being a
that's
dumb
it.
kid,
Yeah.
boosting it, kind of doing like a street tune from people who are still figuring out tuning, and just like a string of bad luck. Like one time the fucking wastegate hose fell off, so the wastegate didn't open.
Did
And
it
he
have a
spiked
clamp
like
on it?
he spiked like 30 psi, lifted the head, and fucking bent rods when coolant filled the fucking
really?
cylinder.
Yeah.
You know, shit like that.
Yeah. I remember he came by the house. I guess I was still living at my mom's, because he came there to our mom's house, and he had like it was a hatchback. It was an EG hatch, and he was like, "Hey, you want to go for a ride in it?" And I'm like, it's late. It's in the middle of the week. Like I got to be back home to like.
got
I
school,
know I'm
we
gonna
got
get
work.
like inside. Like I know I'm gonna get stranded. I'm like I haven't seen it in a while. I'm like, all right, let me see what this thing can do. And it's like a B series, big turbo.
Right.
And like I hop in the back seat, and there's like no back. I think there was no back seat. I think it had the bottom. It's just the bottom. And so, I think it goes without saying there's no seatbelt. so we get rolling and we get up onto the highway. Won't even mention where, but like, and we're just like rolling into it, and then like on the highway, just like spinning, and it's just like going through all the gears, and then just shuts off. And then like luckily we were like right there at the exit, and like we got off, and they ended up in this like it's like the entrance to an office building. And then now we're just on the side of the road in like the middle of the week, and it's like 9 o'clock at night, and he's figuring out what happened. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like,
But this is a normal Tuesday for Furman.
Like,
Right.
what the fuck? Yeah.
Did he at least have AAA or no?
No, he figured it out. He always figured it out. Yeah, he figured it out and put it back on and just zoop right back. Yeah.
And
just
he's a
fucking
better
shenanigans.
like builder for it.
Yeah.
Right.
He's made every mistake.
Learn from his
Yeah,
mistakes.
he's made
Yeah.
every single mistake. He's
Right.
learned from every single mistake.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like it was a wild time to be involved in that.
Yeah. Yeah. To be on the outside, just being like, oh shit, you did what?
Yeah, I'm
Right.
like,
Wild.
I don't want to buy a header for my car because it's my only car. And what if I mess it up? And Furman's like, I've got a turbo and a manifold and like a free weekend. What are we doing?
Like, a free afternoon.
Yeah.
Like crazy.
No, he's the guy that I did an engine swap in the parking lot with. No
Really?
like jack, no lift, no nothing. Just like, okay, we have one jack, so I'm gonna pick up the front of the car, and you're gonna just drag the engine and transmission out.
Jeez. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Fun times.
Make it work,
Well,
right?
there was a period of time where I think that you were like losing hood latches. Remember that? But we were going out like street drifting allegedly, and we got like fucking 5 minutes from Nick's house, and like your hood just flew off, like it flew up.
Oh yeah, it wasn't staying shut. That fucking car.
Dude, yeah, that was the blue S13.
Yeah.
The coupe.
Dude, that fucking hood latch. I
Dude.
swear to God, on the test drive when I was selling that car,
Yeah.
fucking. I was like,
Bro.
he's like, dude, what the fuck? I was like, I guess I'll knock a little bit off for you, bud. I was
because
just like,
the fucking hood's fucked and the windshield's gone.
I was just like, come on, man. Like, and he was cool about it, but, yeah, and it was actually Dalton. Remember Dalton?
Yeah.
Yeah, he bought the car.
Yeah.
And it's
All
just
right,
like,
so that's good. That's
yeah,
like
it was at least somebody I knew. So
Yeah.
He knows what he's in for.
yeah, but I knocked a little off so he could replace it. But it was
Yeah.
fucking.
Dude,
It would be my luck. It was like, dude, it wasn't even far. We drove it out of my parents' neighborhood and just to come back in. Like it wasn't like
yeah.
anything far. We didn't go on a highway or nothing. Just as soon as he got into like third gear, just oh man.
Oh,
Who
dude.
who did you put me in contact with to buy the Volvo? Was that?
That was me.
Yeah, that was you. yeah, that was you.
That was me. Yeah, I bought that car the same day and
Now
then
that-
turned around and sold it to you like a couple hours later.
It's the flip process.
Hey, man. It works.
Hey, that thing
Yeah.
got me through until I got like another car.
Did it?
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
have held on to that, but I couldn't deal with automatic.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It's such a shame
automatic, right?
because he could have an actual reliable like just that. I mean, now the Buick is
That thing's
forced,
solid.
Yeah, because you forced yourself through it. You forced yourself through
And
it.
no, even then, it's
That's
never
actually
left me
true.
stranded.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah, that is true.
It ran on 5 cylinders for like fucking 5 years and never gave me a problem.
They don't make them like they
bad.
used to.
Yeah, they certainly don't. I'm surprised you didn't wash that cylinder out.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Well, it
Well,
wasn't,
it might be.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never.
It's
I
got
never
8,
have.
so it's doing fine.
I have a video on my phone of me doing a compression test on like one of the cylinders, and like the needle just doesn't move.
Really?
But the valve on that, I think it was like the intake valve was like bent and just not closing all the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm assuming you replaced that valve by now?
yeah,
Okay.
I took the heads off, sent them out to a machine shop, had everything redone,
Okay.
and slapped it back together, and she's been perfect.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Mm-hmm. And
I like that thing. That thing's
went from 9 miles per gallon to like 15 if I'm gentle.
Oh, that ain't bad. That's like what my fucking 4Runner gets damn near. I mean, I might get 17 on the highway, but
no, that was doing no more than 60 miles an hour on a highway.
Oh.
Because we had another car with us that was not happy above 60, so...
Still, what year is that?
62.
62 to get 15 miles a gallon. I'll take it.
I'll
take whatever you can get,
when
right?
I first got the thing, it was getting like 6. So I'll take
washing out that cylinder.
Yeah, probably.
It's all literally just dumping out the tailpipe.
Yeah. Or, I'd make a right turn and like a gallon would pour out of the fucking gas cap because it was leaking.
Jesus. Dude, you reminded me about selling a car. As like one last story, and I think we should probably wrap it up. But I tried to sell my it was not the maroon S14 that I had.
Yeah.
And I went with Nick. I was at his house. Some kid hit me up, and he said he could meet me at I won't even say where. But so the kid kind of tire kicks. He's super young. His first car. I'm like, this is wrong. He's like, he's got his dad with him, right? And his dad's like, I don't know, son. It doesn't really seem like it's all there. And I'm like,
it's not?
I'm like, dude, this car is sick. Like, come drive with me. Like, right. And he doesn't know how to drive stick. So I'm like, okay. So like, I take him for a ride. And so we just like cruise down the road. I'm like, I'm cool. And then I'm thinking about like hitting a corner, and I'm like, he's like, what's up with the diffs welded? What is that? I'm like, yeah. It's like, it'll drift. And so like, I like kicked it out because he's like, whatever. And then he's kind of pumped on it. We get back, his dad's like, hell no. So I'm like, but it took some time. And so it was like that kind of feeling where like when somebody like tire kicks for so long and then they're like, nah. And I'm like, oh my God. And then so we leave, and dude, I just did a big burnout just like big circle, like drift in the parking lot, and then like flew out of the parking lot, and then like I got onto, we'll just say like the McDonald's by Nick's house. Okay. And I just like did like a big standing burnout all the way, and I could still see him over there, dude, just second gear, just holding it all the way up.
So then I called you and said, you know what, you changed my mind, I'll take it.
Yeah, because I was like, bro, you don't want this.
Did you go park down the road and wait? See if they call you?
Yeah, no, they did not call back. Because once his dad saw that what the car was doing, he's like, you're not buying a death trap. Like, yeah.
That sounds pretty lame.
For sure the kid wanted it, and the dad was the only reason he didn't shell out right there.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of those moments where I was just like, I just hit this like, fuck it. And it just felt so good to just be like, check this thing fucking out.
He probably ended up with a Hyundai, that poor kid.
I know. It sucks, dude. He could have. Could have had a cool 240. Mm-hmm. All right, man. Well, this has been fun. This has been great. And it's been great seeing you. Honestly, this is like one of the first times we got to like actually hang out, because I think the only time I get to see you is like either at a wedding or you were drifting, and that like your time's being shared with me in the track.
As you were saying, you have no time between sessions.
Not very much.
Yeah, so just kind of sit down and shoot the shit with you for a while, man. And I appreciate you carved out time to be here, and this is not particularly close to your house. So I appreciate you coming out.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I'm sorry you locked your keys in your car. That was a bummer.
Well, all's well that ends well. We got him back.
Yeah, we did. And next time I'll be sure to bring the spare.
Yeah. You should just make copies and just start handing them out, dude.
Just tape one to the frame rail.
Yeah. Honestly, at this point.
They do have those little magnetic
They do. I always worry that the magnet will fall off.
I mean, dude, who cares?
Just epoxy.
You lost it.
I guess you lose it.
Epoxy the box to the frame rail, and then
could.
you just open the box, grab the key. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Well, now this is on the internet, so if anybody recognize me, they're gonna be like, "Hey, he's got a spare key in that truck."
Dog, there ain't nothing in that fucking truck. Shut up.
It's the truck itself. I don't want to go buy.
Honestly, the truck is the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, man. Well, seriously, thank you so much for doing this, bro.
Absolutely.
It's been so much fun. Always is.
Absolutely.
So, go check out Julian. All your
Sonic
socials.
Blue GT on Instagram.
Yeah, I'm gonna post all your stuff down there, so it'll be in the bio. So, and then dumpster rentals, all that. I'll put that in the description. Yep. I'll hit you up. So cool. Thanks, bro.
Thank you.
Cool.
Baby, let me take you for